Trapped in biting wind, hearts will never bleed, frozen and banished out of greed. In their restless dreams, they try so hard to breathe, pulses flutter and sting within this bleakness.
We made a choice, go fight against your fate. Pain will come with the blade. Pain will wake up the despondent crowd in the storming world somehow. Unsheath the sword not to kill. Unsheath the sword to end those clouds above the ground. Wake up, it's time to gather now. We have no way to know where they are headed for. See and lights on the fire, just blaze through the dark. We know it's right under there, something in despair. Whatever is arriving will be prepared. We made a choice, go fight against your fate. Pain will come with the blade. Pain will wake up the despondent crowd in this storming world somehow. Unsheath the sword not to kill. Unsheath the sword to end those clouds above the ground. Wake up to hear the shivering sound.
The way to celebrate, I'll be waiting till we make it. The day to celebrate, I'll be waiting till we make it. Oh, we will see. Come with me, take the journey. We will see. Come with me, take the journey. of the breeze from the rusty time dossiers. Don't stay in a daze looking for a sign. Start and try. Run across fields of ice, but hidden in starlight. Be well aware of roads we've gone by. Put yesterday's aside, need a future head on. Now trailblazers keep credos in mind. One, stop staying within the lines. Two, we always align. Three, even if we don't get the upper hand, we'll fight for mine. Four, never care a rip for hindsight. Five, let us light the night. Six, even when there are wills within, we'll go ahead. Get it pulverized.
宇宙浩瀚无垠，智识包罗万象。在博识学会就有这样一位特例，无形的学术之星，举手投足间尽显低调奢华。
愚蠢是一种病，得治。我是维里塔斯·拉蒂奥，是学者，亦是老师。如果你的脑袋出现了愚钝的症状，也可以称呼我为真理医生。人要学会认识自己，但偶尔也需要一些严厉的教导。0分，0分，下一个。这就结束了吗？不错，加5分。选择和别人做同样的事，得到的往往不会是更好的。让我来考考你。切勿心急，想明白再做决定。计算之中的结果，以益智游戏的标准，还不错。
biu 是我运营的产品，我想通过它和更多不懂分寸的人一起探索世界的边界。正是这些不懂分寸的人，也许他们不被理解，任性、固执，甚至疯狂。
就是我。
但如果没人去打破边界，谁又能玩透世界呢？
大家好，我是星际争霸2世界冠军李培南。作为职业选手，每天大部分时间都是在电脑前度过。每次训练结束都会有不同程度的腰酸背痛，所以我们对电竞椅的要求都非常严格，能保护腰部并且坐感舒适，成为我们挑电竞椅的重要指标。我们一直在用的傲风电竞椅就完美做到这一点。升级的锥背小弹腰有足够的支撑力，并且上下前后都能调节，坐着很舒服，非常适合大家玩游戏的时候使用。不论用什么姿势，正坐、靠着、躺着。腰托都可以支撑我的腰部，非常舒服。再来坐感，这款还配置了空调坐垫，夏天凉爽，冬天温暖，真的是跟空调一样精准控温。训练久了总觉得闷热，坐垫有3档风度调节，游戏再也不闷屁股了。现在天气转凉了，坐垫同样配置了3档加热功能，让身体一直保持温暖，游戏手感一直火热。训练之余刷刷手机休息一下，玩玩手游，6D 机械手臂可以自调节高度，手臂不会感觉累。同时扶手面很大，即使有大动作也不会落空。相信我，跟我一起选择傲风机械大师电竞椅，你也可以逆袭。 成为冠军。
打开微信，搜索公众号“星际老男孩 SC Boy”， 这里有每日的直播预告、重要的赛事报道、精彩的视频剪辑、有趣的主播八卦、定期的抽奖福利以及爆笑的节奏和评论。关注 SC Boy 官方公众号，365天每天更新，让你与20万猛男一起更便捷的享受我和黄哥给大家带来的快乐。不要告诉别人哟。
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another Masters Coliseum 7 broadcast of the group stage, round number 3, day 1. I'm, of course, host Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely and people in the chat, and the animals in the chat as well. Shaking my head. the punning was getting out of control, I have to say. It was too much. But regardless, we are here. We are back with day 1 of the 3rd round with our first match of the night. Here we go. It is going to be Cyril versus Solar. Once again, we are not holding back. We are diving right into a banger of a match, a banger of a series, a ZVZ with a bit of history behind it. Oh boy. Here we go. Solar quickly became the nemesis of Cyril last year, as time and time again, Solar would be the one to stop him. Solar, dubbed the Cyril Slayer, once again diving into a ZVZ against Cyril. Oh boy. Here we go, and we're just diving right on in. Spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player for Team Basilisk. It is Cyril. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing onside, Solar. And if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this series will go. Best of luck, because it's going to be a difficult one. On the one hand, as we're going for a 12 pool. I was going to say, on the one hand, Solar has had a lot of success in recent times against Cyril, has been able to bring him down time and time again. But what I will also say is that Cyril has also been improving. Cyril has also been on fire, and he has clearly been working on his ZVZ. Like Cyril, he knows his weaknesses, and he has been building upon them. So this will not be the same as the last time we faced. That's, I'm sure, what Cyril is looking for, what Cyril is hoping for. But we have a 12 pool. we have a 12 pool, Papi. Let's go. So Solar going to be being the aggressor here. Now, this is not all in. Solar is expanding the goal. Okay. If you're curious, the goal of a 12 pool is to kill workers. It is to kill drones and give yourself an economic lead while you get up into a 2-base economy behind it. That's the purpose of a 12 pool. And here we go. Solar is moving out. This will come down to the micro, to the drone control, the drone drilling of Cyril. He has to be very careful, has to make sure he doesn't lose too many workers to these lings. As again, he's going to be pulling the boys to save his natural base. That's the goal here. Again, Cyril, he cannot afford to lose his base, and he cannot afford to lose too many drones. So he's going to have to buy time with his drones until his lings and queens come out, and then he can swap this away, and then we can get into a game. So here we go. The lings of Solar have arrived. And quite a lot of lings at that. Here we go. He's going to be chipping away at that base. Behind this, Solar, he's droning. Boys are being pulled. Again, Cyril, he's looking to try and save this, try and fight against these lings as best he can. Try to drag this away. Does play chicken with the lings. He tries to commit. Oh, there we go. A couple of drones. They do take some hits. So far, no workers go down. The lings, they have arrived. We go straight for the drone. So far, really good drilling here out of Cyril. He loses one. One drone. One drone goes down. That was a beautiful defense here out of Papi. That was a beautiful defense. Again, you can see Cyril playing chicken with the lings, drone drilling as well, time and time again, and with that, Cyril only lost a single worker. With that, Cyril is ahead. Cyril, he has a around a 5 worker lead here. Is looking quite powerful, quite strong, quite comfortable in this game. Solar, he gambled a little bit, and again, he was hoping for more damage. And to be fair, a lot of those drones got very low. A lot of those drones were deep in the red. I want to say 3 of those workers deep in the red. If we got 3 worker kills, then things would be looking better for Solar, but they lived. They survived. And as a result, Solar, he's in a bit of a rough position. So Solar, he is down in workers. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. Solar should be playing 2-base Rich. Should be playing 2-base Rich from here. He doesn't have link speed, doesn't have a Bailey Nest. He cannot fight for a third. If he tries to take a third base, he will die. So he should be walling up. Oh, the scout. Cyril tries to deep with the scout, is going to be denied. Again, behind this, Solar should be looking to wall off, should be getting into two-base play. Now, I say two-base play as a generalization just because it doesn't have to be two-base Roach. It could still be something like two-base Muta. Like, there are some options available here for Solar. The safer thing to do would be to play Roach, but we'll see. As Solar, he's getting Link speed. Solar, he's doubling down. Okay, so traditionally, when you 12 full, as a follow-up, as a Zerg player in the pro level, you do not get Link speed. You skip Link speed. If you get Link speed, it is for a reason, and we can see why. Solar, he is massing Links right now. He is making nothing but Links. He's cutting workers here at 35, and Solar shouldn't be droning anymore from here. He's taking a third base, but he's Link flooding. Now, the reason why you would do this if you 12 pulled, or as Cyril also massing Links, he's reading this so well. I was going to say that Cyril doesn't have a Baneling Nest. Why? Because there's no Link speed. There shouldn't be Link speed. So Cyril, no Baneling Nest from him, which means he would have a hard time against a Link Flood, but Cyril isn't droning. Cyril isn't droning, again, reading the situation so well, massing Links alongside his opponents, and that means Cyril will have a standing army to fight off against this. And there we go, the Links, they have been scouted. Big scout here from Cyril. He does confirm the Links, almost gets up the Queens, buys a lot of time, and Solar's all in. Like, he's pretty committed with this. Gonna start droning. We have 16 more Links on the way. Like, Solar has to make this worth it, and so far it hasn't been. There we go. We pull the trigger. The Links, they're moving out across the map. But Cyril, again, he wasn't droning. He wasn't over droning. So he's fine back at home. He has Roaches. He has Queens. The Lings, they look to engage. Solar trying to get us around on this, but alas, there's just too much firepower. There's too much from Cyril to defend, and Cyril will swap this away. At the same time, goes for a Link counterattack. He gets a read on the droning, the tech. Make sure there's no Spire. Make sure there's no fast lair. And Cyril is, again, looking pretty comfortable here. Now, Solar is droning. He is droning, but Cyril has a better worker count. He has control of the map. He goes for the Queen. He comes in from behind. The Queen gets surrounded, and it should go down. We even get a couple of workers. The Queen does survive, but we get 2 drones. Up here, Cyril backing off, regrouping. And again, Cyril, he has the Roach advantage. He has the Roach lead. Solar trying to catch Cyril off guard, trying to catch Cyril droning, but Cyril, he's been done dirty before. Like Solar, he's playing so aggressively this game. Like, from the beginning, just non-stop aggression out of Solar. And Cyril, he's aware of it. Like, he's been caught with his pants down before. He's like, never again. Never again, Pop. I'm wearing suspenders. I'm tightening my belts. The pants, they're on. They're always on. Never taking them off. And Cyril, he catches some of these Links, cleans them up as well. A rough trade for Solar. Cyril, he's going to be up in workers. He's got +1 range on the way. We do see Solar maybe getting a better fight here with his Links. Yeah, he does catch some Links of his opponent. Not bad. Does catch a chunk of Links. Behind this, Solar's trying to recover. He's trying desperately to recover. He's droning his heart out right now. He's getting into Roaches. Cyril is being ultra safe. I don't know if you can see that on the production tab. Cyril is making a Hydra Den. So this is just in case there are mutants. Like, Cyril doesn't know. And in his mind, based on how aggressive Solar has been, he could be going mutants. So he's investing into a Hydra Den that won't really pay off. The Hydras won't be necessary here, as it is going to be Roach versus Roach. But again, Cyril is being very safe. Very safe against his opponent. Solar taking a 4th, getting into Roaches. Likewise, Cyril happily joining up to 70. Ooh, that's quite a lot of drones. Thankfully, Solar's also joining up a little bit further as well. There we go, 4th base is being taken. The game is going to settle from here. Again, Cyril has been comfortably ahead by like a step or 2 at this point. Now, with the lead that Cyril has had, he's investing even further into Hydras. We have Hydra range on the way, soon to be Hydra speed. We've got Tunneling Claws, Burrow on the way for both players. Cyril, he's ahead in upgrades, working on 2-1, while Solar is still working on 1-0. So again, Cyril, he will have the better quality Roaches, the better quality army, with the better upgrades. Comes in with an Overseer Scout, Cyril confirming the lack of Spire, the lack of Hydra Den. So making sure that everything's as it should be. And with that, we do have our Overlord on the way, or Dropper Lords even, to help harass. Solo going to be pushing forward with his roaches. Meanwhile, Cyril also investing into his own. As you can see, after Cyril scouted, he saw that there was no need to make Hydras, so even though he invested into upgrades, he's not making any Hydras. It's all about Roach Ravager. It's all about the Roach Ravager at this point between the two players. Now, Cyril does have the tech available to take up into Lurkers later on, but right now it is too soon to do so. He needs Roach Ravager to keep up with the army of Solar. We can see the Solar, he has a Ling counterattack being set up on the left-hand side. He's getting ready to dive into the natural. At the same time, Solar pushing in on the right. Does run into the army. Does have to respect it. Does have to pull back. For the time being, upgrades are even. Lings, they get in. Wow, they slip into the main base. We're going to surround on the Queen. A nice pick up there from Solar. His Lings will be cleaned up, but he did get the Queen nonetheless. At the same time, both armies, they clash. Smile's going to be dodged. Again, just trading with each other. Committing to roaches. Now again, in a couple of seconds, +2 is going to kick in. And again, that's going to be a big power spike for Cyril. +2 is a couple of seconds away. Takes a better trade there. Better concave from Cyril once again. And Solar having a really hard time pushing in. He's trying though. Oh, the piles connect. Oh my god. As Cyril, he was a little bit distracted, going for a roach drop into the main. Does get in, does get a queen. Oh, almost gets a queen. Was borrowed. Loving the picture-in-picture. Let's go. So Solar, he does defend. He does protect the queen. He does keep a couple of roaches back at home to defend. But +2 is done. +2 is now done for Cyril. As soon as it finished, you can see Solar backs off. He was clicking on the roaches. He saw the upgrade kick in. He knows he cannot take a fight. He does retreat. He's rotating around looking for another way in. He is spotted by Cyril. Cyril going to rotate over as well. And as Cyril is defending, we can see both players going for Tunneling Claw of Roach Harass. We have Solar coming in from the right. We have Cyril coming in from the left. The main armies are going to be clashing. They do keep up with each other, but Cyril doesn't have much to defend his fourth. Likewise, there's only a Spine Crawler to defend the fourth base of Solar. Here we go. 3 drones of Cyril go down. Spine Crawler going to be falling as well, and Solar, he is underprepared for this. Solar, he's racing back home. Aye. Solar, he may have killed 3 drones, but he is losing far more. And now that Cyril has breathing room, Hydras are on the way. We have a couple of Hydras being sprinkled in here for Cyril. Catches more roaches. This would be a good time to take up into Lurkers, and there it is. Infestation for Cyril. Infestation, that means Hive, that means Lurkers. Meanwhile, Solar, the first to invest into his own Hive. Hive is on the way. Hydras are going to be clearing up these Overlords. Again, we're only sprinkling in some Hydras just for map control. We're not getting into Lurkers yet. Still mainly Roach v Roach. These Tunneling Claw Roaches, they get caught out. Likewise, Cyril catches Roaches on the right-hand side. Solo going to be able to collapse on this. Cleans up the Roaches towards the left. Cyril still doesn't find a way in yet. He's going to be forced back. I would favor Solar's army overall in a head-to-head fight. I'm sure Cyril knows that as well. He's gaining ground actually. Oh my god. Solar going for a counterattack. Oh, and these roaches, they are trapped. They're going to get surrounded. This was not worthwhile here for Solar as he bleeds out a lot of roaches. Trying to slip by the main army. Same time pushing towards the right and left hand side, going for a split push. Again, Solar desperately trying to break in. 2-2 is done for Cyril at this point. I believe +2 attack is done for Solar. No defense. A couple of biles do connect. Solar so quick to invest into +3 though. Hive is done. +3 is on the way. Cyril, I think he accidentally made a second Roach Warren. I believe that Roach Warren was supposed to be a Lurker Den. I'm pretty sure. Biles going to be connecting with those Overlords. Again, Cyril forcing Solar back. Like, +3 is going to be a big moment for Solar. That is going to be true. Like, that is something that Cyril has kind of left by the wayside. But there we go. +3 now on the way. Only a couple of seconds behind. And there's the Lurker Den. As I mentioned, I'm pretty sure that Lurker Den was supposed to be the Roach Warren that we saw. So, it is delayed. It is late. That take advantage from Serral is going to be delayed. So we are still in the midst of Roach v Roach. Serral even slipping by here. The defenses gets into the 4th and the 3rd mineral line. 7, 8 workers going to be going down. Oh, Solar bleeding out a lot of workers. 10 drones. So keeping the main army busy. Still reinforcing more roaches. Again, even though there's a lurker gen on the way, if you make too many hydras at once, you will die. Like, hydras do not fare well in Roach v Roach. That's why it's a very delicate dance when it comes to how you want to compose your army. That's why Serral hasn't made any more hydras. There's only a handful, and those are the only ones that are meant to morph into those lurkers. If you invest too much, then you will be overwhelmed. Good Biles. Biles on Solar. Likewise, Solar pushing through, gaining ground. Shuts down the Overlord. +3 still not done for Solar. He's taking a better fight though. Serral just, having a bit of a hard time maneuvering his army, losing a big chunk of roaches. But it's not going to be enough. GG gets called here as Solar. He almost had no workers across the map. He lost so many drones earlier to the run by. He was pretty all in. And GG. We didn't even get to see the lunkers. We didn't even get to see the lunkers, Papi, as Solar. He ran out of steam there. And Serral takes game number 1. And I'm impressed. Again, Serral, I like the way that he adjusted against Solar. He was playing so safe against him, winding the clock back to after the 12. I mean, the 12 pool defense is beautiful. The 12 pool defense is beautiful, but after that, Serral, I feel like a month ago, 2 months ago, we would have seen him droning. Here, he massed lings. He didn't even scout. He didn't even see the lings that were amassing for Solar, but he just knew to be safe and knew to not over drone. Made his own lings, was able to, didn't throw down a Bailing Nest, but was able to keep up with the ling flood that Sol was trying to whip out. Was able to keep up with all the aggression of Solar, and yeah, it was really well done. Really well done in the end. Even had the foresight to be ready for something like Mutus as well with the Hydra Den. And Serral was in control this game. Solar gonna have to take a different approach. Gonna have to try to rethink how he does approach Serral in general here. Being hyper aggressive in game 1 did not work. And now we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Serral for Basilisk. And in the top right, we have his opponent, we have a Solar for Onside. Here we go. ZVZ does continue. This time, we're making drones. This time, we are droning up. No 12 full. Not in game 2. Solar, he has learned his lesson. Gonna have to, again, take a different approach against Serral. Now, for those of you that maybe saw some of the score lines of Serral versus Solar and maybe didn't watch the games in WTL and were like, how did Solar keep beating Serral? A lot of it did come down to mind games. A lot of it did come down to Serral overdroning at times, or being lured into a false sense of security. Like, Solar's mind games were crazy, going for constant ling floods, roach all-ins, cutting workers at really weird timings, and time again catching Serral off guard. Like, that's typically how Solar would win his series against Serral, is with mind games, and is with Serral maybe just being fed misinformation or just misreading a situation, and thinking that he's safer than he was, which is, I'm sure, why in game 1 Serral was playing so safely, and it worked. Did work here against Solar. Again, if at any moment Serral decided to drone up more than he did, he could have died. Could have died then and there. So now Solar is aware, and now we'll see if we have a different approach to this game. Based on game number 1, I imagine Solar is going to be taking a more macro approach, but that's what Serral wants, right? It's like Serral, like macro ZVZ. Serral arguably has the best in the world. We've seen him take down Dark, we've seen him take down Raynor. Like, Serral, he is a beast here if he's able to get into a stable economy. I mean, we just saw it, right? Where he's just got constant multitasking, Dropper Lords, Roach run-bys, Tumbling Claw run-bys as well. He'd be very difficult to keep up with. So we'll see. We shall see. For now, Lings are going to be sent out for both players. So far, everyone is still droning. We got Link speed on the way. We should soon be seeing a Baneling nest. Sorry, a third base, then a Baneling nest. Things should be looking quite standard here. Catching up. How'd you know the Hydra was meter defense and not just set up for lurker? I think as Base Habit was mentioning in the chat, usually it's very risky to get. I mean, we even saw right when we had that Hydra, when we saw how many Hydras were invested, it was only a handful. Like Hydras in general are typically a bad thing, and rushing into lurkers can get you killed quite easily. So it's a delicate dance. It's quite a difficult feat to actually get into lurkers in ZVZ. Without dying. it's a journey to take. And hey, I mean, Cyril, he was on that road. On the road to lurkers eventually. He was getting there. Meanwhile, Ling Bane aggression has begun. You see Solo making some safety Banelings back at home. Likewise, Cyril also making his Banelings across the map actually. Cyril's going to be the aggressor here, initially. He's going to rook up at that third base. Is gonna be nibbling away at the hatchery. Bailey's gonna be waddling in. Oh. So far, so good. Solar in position, zones Cyril away. Does get some damage done on the hatchery, but not much else yet. Of course, Lingbane was forced out, and Solar is going for his own counterattack. We can see Cyril racing back home. The Lingbane wars have begun. Ooh, the Banelings get caught, and one Baneling goes down. A good trade here for Solar. Let's pick up a Baneling. A bit of a Ling Rumite comes in for a scout. Diving on in behind this Roach Warren, already done for Cyril. Oh my god. I'm loving this. Cyril cutting workers much earlier on. Cyril, he's in the driver's seat this time. He's throwing caution to the wind. Cyril, he cuts workers at 37. He is massing roaches right now. He's going for one big push, and Solar is droning. Yo, I'm getting some deja vu. It's a bit of a role reversal here where Solar's being a little bit too economic, and Cyril is being decisive. Here we go. The roaches have been revealed. Solar knows. He's racing back home. He's racing back home. 6 more roaches on the way. Cyril's supply block though. Oh, this is not the time. 6 overlords on the way. Ay, ay, ay. And with that, we're droning. Yeah, Cyril, he's missed his window. He missed his window. Now he's droning. 8 workers on the way. That was a brutal supply block. And with that, the game will continue. Throughout that time, Cyril would have liked to have been reinforcing and pushing, but yeah, without reinforcing, he couldn't quite do so. Does get some drones though. 3 workers go down at the third. Good pick off from Cyril. Very necessary as well to catch up in the droning, as both players are just saturating and the game is going to be settling from here. Both players are still being active with their armies, that is true, but we're just droning behind this. Ooh, a Solar. This time we have a Spire. This time we have the Spire on the way. Lair is late for Cyril. This is so smart out of Solar. So, Cyril's Lair was late because he was not really going to be intending to use it with his initial build, because he was building up so many roaches. He was going for a push. Because the push was deflected, because we didn't commit, Lair is late, which means the Overseer Scout is late. So, the Spire, for now, unscouted. Cyril needs an Overseer soon to get into that main base. Speaking of an Overseer Scout, Solar's pushing in. He's slipping in with that Overseer. Just making sure that his opponent isn't going for a Spire himself. Likewise, Cyril getting his Overseer here on the right-hand side. Now, can Solar deny the Scout? He's getting damage done on the Overseer already. He's taking a lot of hits. Ooh, and there's no urgency to scout from Cyril, so we're not going to see the Spire. It doesn't look to be the case. Uh-oh. That Overseer had one job, and it is not going to be getting the scout off, but oh my god, once again, Hydra Den out of Cyril. We saw it at a similar timing last game, and I'm loving that we're seeing it here. Even though Cyril hasn't seen anything, this Hydra Den, like, he's still reading the situation so well here. And this time it's going to pay off. Last game, it took a long time for him to actually make any Hydras when he got the safety Hydra Den, but this time, it's going to come into play. Meanwhile, Solar's going to be committing. There we go. The mutas have been revealed. They've now been revealed here to the Overseer. Cyril, he knows. He's now fully aware of what's going on. He's getting ready here. Massing Hydras. Spores are on the way. Queens are amassing as well. And Solar's going to be a little bit surprised with how quickly these Hydras are about to pop out. For now, they're finding some damage. They're getting some roaches. That's a lot of roaches. It is. They got some work to do here, chipping away at this army. There we go. Hydras have been revealed. They trickle in, though. Queen goes down. 2, 3 Hydras as well. 4, 5. Every single Hydra goes down. Oh, again, Cyril a little bit too cavalier here, coming in too soon. And every single Hydra is going to be going down. They trickle in one at a time. We even get a Queen. Good trades here from Solar. At the same time, he does force a cancel on that hatchery. Does deny the 4th. And these mutas, they're getting out of hand. Again, Cyril, he needed to consolidate his army. He did push in a little bit too soon. What, 4, 5, 6? Okay, the Hydras are amassing. Okay, now we have to respect it. Now that the Hydras have grouped up, the mutas, they need to pull back here and be very careful with how they engage. As the mutas do rotate around. Okay, we do get a couple of Hydras here towards the north. 2 Hydras get picked up. They run by into the main. Well, we are pulling the Hydras apart here. Yeah, very good pickups. The roaches are isolated, and so many roaches are going to be going down to those mutas. The mutas, they're going ham. Really good muta control here from Solar this game. GG gets called. He trades far too well. And Solar takes game number 2. We tie up the series 1-1. GG. And I was praising Cyril. I was praising him for the early Hydra Den, and I stand by that. It was a very nicely timed Hydra Den, but we saw that, mate, Solar, he was so quick to recognize a couple of Hydras trickling in, and he dove on them immediately. He killed so many Hydras. So many of them were caught isolated out on the map, and as the Hydras are falling, fourth base was denied. So many roaches were going down, and Solar, he was snowballing out of control with his mutas. On top of that, even before that, there was that big supply block, and Cyril, his initial plans were kind of thrown by the wayside. Like, things were going awry for Cyril even earlier on in that game. But Solar, the killer instinct with those mutas. Again, despite the Hydras, he was able to dive on them so quickly. And by the time that Cyril was able to amass a good Hydra count, even then, Solar was doing such a great job splitting up the Hydras. Remember, towards the end, Cyril, he had his army cut in half, and he lost all of his Hydras towards the north, and it was just too many losses. Too many losses too quickly. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're tied up. And this, again, is also why Solar is known as the Cyril Slayer. Like, he has like a winning record against Cyril in recent months, and is one of the few players out there that can consistently take games and take series off of Cyril. Will it happen again, or will Cyril get his revenge? I mean, it's still the group stage, and both players still have a good chance to make it further here in this tournament, but the pressure is on. And even here, Cyril trying to get into the zone, trying to shake off that game. It all comes down to this. It all comes down to one final game here on Hardware. Here we go. We are loading in and spawning in the top left-hand corner. We have the finished third player, Cyril for Basilisk. And in the bottom right, we have his opponent. We have Solar for Onside. Oh boy, here we go. Solar, who arguably has the best ZVC in the world. I'm not too sure if I want to say that. I don't know if I want to say Solar has the best ZVZ in the world or the best, like, ZV Cyril in the world. Like, I don't... Not too sure yet. It's like with Ryung. Like, does Ryung have the best TVT in the world, or does he have the best TV Clem? That's the question. That is the question. As Overlords are being sent out. Again, it's going to be Hatch first. Hatch gas pool from both Cyril and Solar. No one is rushing into an early pool. No one is going for a 13-12 or a 12 pool or anything crazy like that. no 15-15, which has risen in popularity. And if Rainer was here, I'm sure Rainer would whip out a 15-15 at some point. But so far, all the standards are all the openers are standard. We go. As again, we're going to be keeping an eye on our droning, on our builds, on our follow-up tech, especially on hard lead. So, talking about the game a little bit, I mean, this is going to be wild. Hard lead is the shortest rush distance map in the map pool. Very, very short, very small, very aggressive by nature. And it can lead to a lot of either Ling Bane aggression or even roach timings as well. It doesn't take long at all to push out. It doesn't take too long to move out across the map to hit your opponent hard. So I'm sure both players are going to be very wary of that, especially based off of last game. Like again, I believe that Cyril did want to be aggressive early on, did want to push out. The supply block stopped him. If it wasn't for that, I do think that he did want to hit a timing with his roaches. And he may want to make up for that in this game. And again, Solar, I'm sure, is aware of that. Solar, I'm sure he's not aware of the supply block, but he's aware of like the earlier Roach Horn and the early roaches that were amassing from Cyril. So Solar, after that last game, has also been put on notice. He's also aware of the aggressive potential of Cyril. And I just appreciate that we've had a back and forth, that we're getting an ace match between our two lovely players. Feels good, man. Bailey Nest is on the way. It's going to be Ling Bane from either player. No one is skipping their Bailey Nest, thankfully. Can be some players do try to do that, and it can be so risky to pull that off. Recently, we casted Rainer versus Scarlet, and no, sorry, it was Scarlet versus Mixu. That's Scarlet versus Mixu, where Scarlet did skip her Bailey Nest, and Mixu was able to take advantage of Scarlet in that game. So you got to be careful. I think it was on hard lead as well, actually. It was in Home Story Cup. Meanwhile, early Roach Horn here from Solar. Very early. Likewise, Cyril meeting up with him. Both Roach Horns at around the same time. Solar's is ahead by a couple of seconds, but only by a couple of seconds. So pretty comparable Roach timings. Both players going to be droning. So far, both players keeping up with each other. Big scout from Cyril, making sure that there's no hidden Evo chamber, no additional gases, and no fast lair. So very important scout by Cyril. Baileys are on the way for both players. Cyril going to be the aggressor. Once again, 2 games in a row. Does have one Bailing waddling in. Outside of that, though, we do see Solar amassing roaches very early on. Oh, this is gonna be... Okay, I was like, are we gonna commit? Interesting. So, Solar, he makes 5 roaches that he's droning. He should be pushing. He should be pushing with these roaches, and I believe the goal here... There we go, as the roaches are revealed. The goal from Solar is gonna be to try to force an overreaction. There we go, you can see the roaches pushing right through the center, under the Overlord. And Cyril is responding with roaches of his own. So again, this is just basically Solar puffing up his chest. You can see the roaches moving out, they reveal themselves to the Overlords, and then they pull back. And again, this was just to kind of fake out, basically like a game of chicken here. Like, do you fall for it or do you not? And Cyril did make a wave of roaches to defend. So it was a fake out, a good fake out here. As a result, you can see the droning. Solar is pretty far ahead in workers because of that fake out. Now Cyril has to catch up. Like, there's a lot of that happens in ZVZ because vision is something that you have, so you use that as a resource and you use that against your opponent because there are overlords everywhere. There's a lot of value in faking out a push. Meanwhile, Spire is on the way for Solar. Overseer coming in. This time we may be able to go for the scout. Overseer being forced back for the time being. Cyril in the dark. Behind this, Cyril is still droning. 4th base is on the way. Tells us that Cyril isn't really looking to push in yet. 4th base also on the way for Solar. And the Spire has not been scouted. Solar trying to go in for it with his own scout as well. We saw how well the mutas worked out for Solar in game number 2. We'll see if he can replicate that here in game number 3. As once again, safety hydrogen on the way from Cyril. Now, as we saw, even if we have the hydrogen against mutas, doesn't mean it is going to be enough. As we do scout, we confirm we get eyes on the Spire. Big scout from Cyril. Now he knows 100% that mutas are going to be on the way. On the flip side, Solar knows he got scouted. He knows that Cyril knows about the mutas, so how hard do we commit? Last game, Solar, he committed quite hard. He invested into +1 melee, and he just massed nothing but mutas. This time, only 6 mutas, and I believe that we're not going to commit too much more than this. Just because we know that Cyril is aware. So 6 mutas is enough to one-shot drones, fun fact, so it's enough to harass, also enough to gain map control as Overlords are pulling back. Cyril does already have Overlord speed, so his Overlords will be safe. And you can see here, Solar, he's amassing roaches. He's amassing nothing but roaches, +1 range on the way, and we're going for a big push. Now, if Cyril overmakes Hydras, he will be in a lot of trouble. Hydras do not trade well against roaches whatsoever, and again, Cyril has to be very careful not to overcommit. Again, mutas being very aggressive, Hydras are on the way. A couple of roaches being sprinkled in, thankfully, and here we go, we're pushing in. Solar has a supply lead, a massive supply lead. Roaches have been spotted. Cyril knows. Cyril, now he knows what's going on. He has more roaches on the way, but does he have enough? He has a decent force here on the front lines. The Ravager's not done yet. We're going to force the cancel. Solar breaking through. And Cyril caught with his pants down. He did over-drone slightly here. Did make a lot of Hydras. Was not quite ready for this push, but the Concave does force Solar back. Does force him back. Solar trying to consolidate his forces again. He still has a supply lead. He can still break in. Good pile out of Cyril. Likewise being forced back. Ravagers were focused down. So the one Ravager left, and Cyril he's holding. Cyril, he is barely holding on. Mutas are getting damage done across the map, but they only get one worker. They're on the gas geyser. That was a scary moment. That was a scary moment for Cyril. But he does hold on. Does react in time. Gas geyser goes down, a couple of drones as well. The mutas are getting damage done, but not too much. Again, honestly, it was really important that Cyril saw the army. Remember, before the push occurred, Cyril, he saw the roaches on the right-hand side with his lings. Rock's being knocked down. Solar, he's still committed. Mutas sharking around, looking for any damage. They do come across an Overseer. Solar, once again, he wants to push up this ramp into this army, but we have the Concave. He's committing. He's going to be committing. Files, they are going to be dodged. They connect on Cyril. You can see on the left-hand side, Solar's breaking through, but on the right, he's falling. But Cyril, can we deal with this? His Ravagers are being surrounded. Ravagers being focused down. The Hydras as well. If the Hydras fall, then the mutas can reign supreme, but the mutas, they do get focused down as well. Trading Hydras for mutas. Solar diving in so deep here. Trading efficiently, getting every single Hydra. Before pulling back. You can see that Solar is still just amassing an army. He's coming in for wave 3. Cyril, he's been barely holding on by the skin of his teeth. Cyril, he's barely holding every time. He's closing the gap in supply. So he has eyes on this army. Honestly, now wouldn't be a bad time to go back into mutas. Remember, the Hydra count was reset. So we could try to go back in, but we'll see. Cyril, he tries to get on top of that army. Do you have a better Concave coming in from Solar? Coming from both angles. Reinforcements still on the way for Cyril. Roach is going to be going down. Good target fire here on the Ravagers once again. Oh my god, Cyril, he's so good at that. Does focus on every single Ravager. Likewise, he loses his own. And Solar, he's barely breaking through. Burrow coming in clutch though. Loving the essentially fleet control here from Cyril. And is it barely enough? It may be. He's retaining a lot of his roaches. He's keeping them alive. He does force Solar back, and Cyril takes a supply lead. The Burrow micro. Saving those weakened roaches, pulling them back. No, there was no detection. At the time, there was no detection for Solar. And suddenly, Cyril takes that supply lead. Cyril looking strong. Solo's in some trouble. He is in trouble. As I say that, he goes for a run by. But we have plenty to defend. Plenty to defend. Cyril, he collapses on this army, forces this back, catches free Roches as well, and suddenly everything is swinging in favor of Cyril. He was down in supply. He was down in supply for so long in this game, for most of this game. But again, he had really good target firing on the Ravagers, really good forward micro as well. Solo's trying to catch a couple of free units, does get one Roach. Ugh. Couple of Roaches. But again, Cyril is going to be the first to max out. Cyril has the better upgrades. He's got +1 carapace. We've got Hydra range on the way. Sorry, Hydra speed. Again, you can see a couple of Hydra sprinkled in. I'm sure he's aware that there's a Spire in case there was a Muta switch. I'll say Grey Cyril's army once again another counterattack, but Cyril, he's keeping up. He does keep up with the run by, does keep up with the counterattack. Solar is forced back. Solar going to be retreating here. Again, both armies are maxing, but tech-wise, Cyril is getting further ahead. He had Burrow, now he's got Tunneling Claws on the way. We have the Infestation on the way for Hive Tech for eventually a Lurker transition. Meanwhile, drones are falling! Oh, 7 workers go down, a big blow to the economy here of Solar. Okay, gonna have to re-drone, gonna have to resaturate. For a big portion of this game, Solo was in the driver's seat, but no longer. You see him trying to catch the army. Does get a couple of hits in. Gets a Roach. Every Roach counts. So he gets a Roach of his own. There it is. Lurker Den is on the way alongside the Hive. So he's getting ready for that Lurker transition. Solar one step behind tech-wise. You can see Solar working on his own Hydrogen, his own Hive. See if he can get there. See if he can get there. As for now, Cyril's just a brick wall and he's just unwavering. Hasn't allowed Solar in. Tunneling Claws is done, by the way, for Cyril, so he can go for a counterattack. He can go for run bys. There's potential. Cyril even sneaking out a 5th base on the right-hand side. And Solo's got his own 5th, to be fair, but it's about to lose some workers as Roaches, they come in for some harass. And they will pick off these drones, forcing the entire army back. Oh my god. So many drones go down. 7 worker kills. Cyril is not stopping. Again, Solar, can he respond in time? Can he meet up with this? Here's Cyril's main army pushing through the center. Solar distracted. Wiles, going to be connecting, I think, in favor of Solar. Solar going to be able to take a better trade on the left-hand side as well. Solar trading better here. Cleans up part of that army. Finds the 6th. Solar, he ignores it. Ignores the 6th base. Wedges himself in between the bases instead. Oh, but there's a massive concave, a massive arc from Cyril, and this was not the move. This is not the play from Solar. Bleeding out a lot of Ravagers. An expensive loss for Solar, and he plummets in supply. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, Solar, he thought he saw an opening, but with that, suddenly he's far behind here in his army. And Cyril is snowballing out of control. He's up 30-40 supply. We can keep pushing. Can keep pushing, and sometimes one bad fight is all it takes, especially in a mirror matchup. Like Solar, he was holding on. He was behind tech-wise. Like he was. Yeah, he has been struggling to keep up for quite some time. But that was a brutal fight. Yeah, and you can see Cyril overwhelming. Solar shakes his head on cams. He knows The writing here is on the wall. GG gets called, and Cyril will get his revenge and will take the series 2-1. GG. Oh. GG, well played. Whew, that was a tense series, very tense, and the first half of this game was Cyril on the back foot, was Cyril struggling to survive, struggling to hold on. Solo was so committed, so all in, but a couple of bad fights, and Cyril making the best out of a bad situation. Again, his target firing was insane. The way that he was using his own Ravages, his own Hydras as well, his Burrow Micro, the Burrow Micro, Bobby. that was the moment where momentum swung from Solar to Cyril. That was the moment. That was the fight where just everything went Cyril's way. It was beautiful. GG. GG, well played. Cyril will take it. We'll get a better score for now here in the group stage. Solar, he takes a loss, and we're going to be getting ready for our next matchup. Going to be going on a short break. When we return, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We just wrapped up with our first matchup of the night. We just wrapped up with Cyril versus Solar, and now we have returned with Classic versus Cure. Now, just like the previous players, both Classic, Cure, alongside Cyril and Solar, they have 1-1 scores, 1 win and 1 loss to their names, and this is to distinguish them to have a better score, a better chance at making it out of the group stage here, to determine who can take a lead here in the overall scoreline. Again, Cure, he was able to bring down Trigger. He did end up taking a loss to an opponent yesterday, a loss to Dark. Meanwhile, Classic took down Solar, took a loss to Hero. Now they face off in a PvT, and they're both pretty terrifying players in their own right. They're both some of the best that Korea has to offer when it comes to Protoss and Terran respectively, and I'm here for it. I am ready for it, and if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series, who you think comes out on top. Best of luck. As spawning in the top right hand corner, we have for Twisted Minds, it is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have representing Team Liquid, it's their new pickup, it is Cure. And as we settle into this game, a big shout out to the sponsors. A shout out to Doyu, Honkai Star, Taido, Orderful, and Pipio. Big shout out to our lovely sponsors here. Without them, this event would not be possible, would not be here. We would not have WTL or Kung Fu Cup or Masters Coliseum as well funded as they are. So big shout out to our lovely sponsors that do support StarCraft over in China. From here, though, we are going to be settling into our PvT, and this is going to be a really interesting one. For a long time, Cure was known for his TVP prowess. Has a terrifying Terran versus Protoss matchup. Had the best TVP in the world for quite some time as well. Meanwhile, Classic is a titan in his own right. He is terrifying, he's very aggressive, very similar to Hero. They don't, like, Classic and Hero don't necessarily share builds whatsoever, but they have a similar outlook, a similar kind of play style in the sense that they're just hyper aggressive and very in your face. we'll see who comes out on top. As a reminder, best of 3, not a best of 5. Bit of a shorter series between these two. But I'm hoping we can go the distance. I am hoping. Thanks Anime Waifus for sponsoring this event. Oh, ooh, papi, ooh. I don't know what Anime Waifus say other than that. That's all I got. That's aye. Oh. But we are going to be settling in. Again, for now, it's going to be a double gas opener. Interesting. Double gas opener at a Cure, so something far more aggressive. Now, if you've been watching Cure recently, you would know that just like Clem, Cure has also been embracing the new Cyclone, mainly in TVT, but he has sprinkled it into TVP as well. I'm curious if that's going to be the case here with something like a Cyclone drop in this matchup. Can be very devastating. Speaking of, there it is. It is going to be a Cyclone first from Cure into a delayed CC on the low ground. Meanwhile, Classic's opener, ooh, I assumed it was going to be a Twilight Council, but no, it's going to be a Stargate opener from Classic. Let's go. Let us go. Is there any Protoss player that comes to mind as a super standard macro player like Innovation was for Terran? Showtime. Showtime for the foreign scene and Creator for the Korean scene. I would say that both Showtime and Creator, depending on the matchup, but for the most part, they're a lot more macro-oriented, if that makes sense. They're less aggressive, less in your face. They look for more standard games. But here we go. The Double Reaper does slip into the main. Oh, so you get a couple of probes. 2 probes do go down to the main base. Pretty good pickoffs, and both Reapers will escape. I spoke too soon. The Adept does cut them off. Good movement here at a Classic as he shuts down one of those Reapers. Meanwhile, though, Cure did get a full scout. He was able to confirm the Stargate. He saw the Phoenix in production. He is aware. We can see that Classic is going to be going for a Stargate into Robo, looking like Phoenix Colossus. A very standard kind of playstyle here in TVP. And this makes sense specifically on Alcyone. We spoke about this map before, but as we're doubling down on Cyclone production just to be safe, just to defend against the Phoenixes. But we spoke about Alcyone before. This is a very macro-oriented map. If we're going to see a standard game between these two players, it is going to be here on Alcyone. Third CC is on the way. I believe Classic didn't see it. I don't think he got close enough, but that is a very fast third CC from Cure. That's a third CC before the second and before the third racks as well. So, yeah, Cure being quite greedy behind this, rushing into a third base. Meanwhile, Classic getting into Colossus. If you're curious about what like standard PvT is, this is what Classic is playing. Like Phoenix into Colossus is just very by the book and has been the meta for a number of years at this point. I would say, how many years? Like 2020 since? Like it's been a while. It's been the tried and true for a number of years. And yeah, Classic gonna be playing quite normal here in game 1. He's getting his third base up and running. We have a safety Immortal. Again, the purpose of this Immortal is just to make sure you don't die. Like, in case Cure moves out, you don't want to be caught with no army. And we are lacking units at the moment here for Classic, as we are taking up very heavily. Even more so, not just rushing into Colossus. Before we even start the Colossus, we have a Forge and a Twilight Council. Classic is being very greedy. Like, we're cutting a lot of corners. Like, again, Classic doesn't really have much of a standing army. Cure is pushing out. Classic with a shield battery should be okay, assuming he has a shield battery ready. That's the thing I'm a little bit worried about. Uh-oh, no shield battery here on the high ground. This is going to be confirmed by the Reaper, and Curie's coming in. Curie's diving up the ramp. Good lock-ons here with the Cyclones, and Classic, he's in a lot of trouble. Phoenix goes down, the Immortal, it does lose its shields. Do manage to bring down one of those Cyclones, but alas, we zone the armor away. The Colossus comes out just in time. The Colossus has arrived, and we will spot this away. You can see how the momentum swings from one player to another with just one unit. And the Colossus will clean this up. Oh, we do pick off one more Stalker. One more Stalker goes down, but Classic will hold. Again, if it wasn't for that timing, if this Colossus were even a couple of seconds late, Classic would have died. Like, we would have broken the Immortal, broken the Stalker, and then we would have camped the production. Would have camped that Robo. That was very close. that was a clutch hold out of Classic. Does hold on though. does make it out. Behind this, Charge is on the way, +1, Extend Thermal Lance. Classic is getting away with all that tech that we spoke about earlier. He is getting away with it. Meanwhile, second Colossus has arrived, and we are hitting critical mass. Once we get up to 3 Colossi, a Bio Army isn't really going to be able to touch this. Not without support. Speaking of support, Kyrhi's transitioning into Viking production. That's a second starport on the way, so Kyrhi's doubling down on mass Viking. This will eventually lead into Liberators, but that's still a ways away. Now, bearing in mind that, remember, Kyr did take a fast third, so Kyr is actually with a comparable economy to Classic, which is not something you want to see. Typically, the Protoss player wants to be up a base, and Classic still doesn't have a 4th. Classic, he needs to start working on a 4th base. Kyr, he's aware of it, he's looking for it, he does come across a pylon. Ooh, depowering the Robo, oh my god. Even depowers the Robo, delays a Colossus, good pickup. Kyr gonna be pulling back. Second Phoenix on the... Mate, talking about cutting corners. Yo, Classic has been hyper greedy this game. Not just when it came to taking his 3rd and surviving the first push, we're already rushing into double Stargate, Fleet Beacon, into Skytoss. Like, again, we don't really have much to defend. We have 2 Colossi and a handful of gateway units, but Classic is just rushing into a good force field. Catches some Marines, catches some Marauders, and it will sort this away, stifling the army well ahead of time. A good catch here by Classic. And again, I love this posturing as well. Like, Classic, he's basically puffing up his chest. He's acting like he's moving out, but he's not. Like, Classic doesn't have a Warp Prism. He doesn't really have much of an army. He cannot push in. And you can see here, Kyr taking a defensive stance. Now, thankfully for Kyr, because he's going double Stargate Viking, because he has so many Vikings already, this will help against the Skytoss. Like, perchance. Like, it's not intentional. The Skytoss hasn't been scouted, but against the Phoenix, against the Colossus, Kyr, he will already have a hefty Viking count. +1 ship weapons on the way. We do have Ghosts as well for EMPs. So Kyr, he won't have the worst army, but again, doesn't really know what's coming his way. And we do go for a scan. We see the Robo for now, the Colossi, the Phoenixes. Kyr is going to be pushing on the right-hand side. Again, he's got a lot of Vikings. Zealot Rumbai comes in. Third base is exposed. Boys are being pulled. The Vikings are going ham. That's some big swipes going off. The overcharge is popped as well, keeping the Colossi alive. We get 4 SCV kills, but the Zealot Rumbai does get cleaned up. But no mining at the third base. As more of those SCVs go down. 9 SCVs. Oh my god, we're not done. Can we get 10? We can. 10 SCVs go down. Kyr taking a 4th. Meanwhile, Classic amassing those carriers. And again, the carriers have still not been scouted. We still don't know. Kyr doesn't know that there was a lot of pressure on Kyr to push in, and Classic was quite vulnerable. But Classic, he's getting away with rushing to these carriers, and suddenly that window where Classic was vulnerable is closing. It's closing. We see the scan, and I believe we see the carriers. And with that, Classic is going to be pushing in, and we're going to run away with this. We force back the Vikings. 2, 3, 4 of them go down. Kyr has to retreat. And again, Classic has gone away with murder at this point. Like, I think we only have 4 carriers. We're about to have 6. And 6 carriers is insane. Ay, ay, ay. Good carriers, they are amassing. Mothership is on the way. The Mothership. I think we have 4 carriers. No, not quite 6 yet. So 4 carriers. Mothership. Immortals are on the way. Scan reveals it. And you can see that, again, Kyr, he needs to be active. I do appreciate the split push. So Kyr is going to be threatening the natural and threatening the 4th base at the same time. And Classic looking a little bit exposed at that natural base. So Kyr is going to try and pull apart the Protoss. Again, Classic's army is very slow. It's a very slow-moving army. Not very mobile whatsoever. So I do think that Kyr, like, making use of his mobility is going to be, like, the way to go, the way to approach this. As I say that, oh, we're taking the gold. And in a head-on fight, it's like I have to favor Classic here, and I don't think Kyr can do anything about the gold base. I don't think he can touch it. Both players are maxing out, but one army is not quite like the other. Storm is on the way. Kira going to be pushing through the center. Now, there is going to be a recall. Bear that in mind. There is going to be a recall available for Classic. There's going to be 2 recalls. One to a base, the other to the mothership. So Classic could split up his forces. I do like that he's positioned at his 3rd, in between his 5th and his natural. So he can rotate, he can respond. Spots the army of the Zonaga. Another Viking gets picked off. Viking and a medevac. Good trades here. At the same time, here comes Cure. Not quite. Does pull back. Yeah, Classic. He does rotate over. Catches wind of the army. You can see Classic. He wants a fight. He knows he can take it. He's trying to catch out Cure. Scan reveals it. Good force fields. And Marines get shaped off. Here we go. A death ball of an army is going to be pushing. Now, what do we have to defend? We need a line of turrets, we need EMPs, we need Vikings. Oh boy, this is not going to be easy for Cure. Now, these EMPs, they don't just need to connect with the army, we need to connect with the High Templar to avoid those storms. Meanwhile, here's the recall! Cure going for a massive counterattack, forces the recall. And once again, Classic wants to catch this army. But he's a little bit too late to the party here. Too late to respond. Now remember, recall is a resource, and we just used it. Now Cure is going for another counterattack. He's pushing on the right-hand side at the same time. Oh, he pulls back. Classic is committing. He is committing. He doesn't have a recall available, but Cure, he has to respect this push. Shows the storms. Oh my god, massive storms on the army, on the Vikings, on the bio. And Cure, he is melting here. He still has a pretty hefty Viking count. But they're so battered. They're so bruised. One carrier goes down. A second carrier as well. Can we get a third? Oh, not quite. The storms are brutal, and Cure's army melts. It just melted, and now the base will fall as well, and Classic is running away with this. Again, just could not engage with this. GG gets called, and Classic takes game number 1. GG. Oh my god. Yo, is Classic drinking whiskey? Was that... that was... Oh my god, Papi. Classic being classy tonight. My god. That was an interesting glass. Interesting, Papi, interesting. I mean, hey, yo, we're playing from home. May as well let loose a little bit. It did look like it. It was neat, though. It was neat. There were no rocks. There were no rocks in that glass. Ay, ay, ay. But here we go. We're getting into game 2. And again, Classic got away with so much greed that game. He cut so many corners, even with his initial... even with his initial opener. Remember, he went Phoenix Colossus. He cut Phoenix production. He only had like 3 Phoenixes at most. He cut Phoenix production, and he cut gateways. He quickly teched up into a Forge, into a Twilight Council. He had very little to defend. He got away with it. He got away with the 3rd base. He deflected the initial army just barely, and then straight away just rushed into Skytoss. And this is something that you can't get away with on smaller maps. Alcyone, it's a large map. Very defendable on 3 on 4 bases. This is a map you can get away with this on, and Classic, he showed that to us. He proved that. GG. Kira, it took him a little bit too long to realize what was happening, and by the time he did, he could not punish it. Not anymore. And sporting in the top left-hand corner, we have Classic for Twisted Minds. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have Cure for Team Liquid. Here we go. But again, Classic, he got away with murder that game. And by the time Cure realized, oh my god, there are carriers, he just could not break in. Cure, he was trying to go for some split pushes. He was trying to pull apart the attention of Classic, but Classic was able to keep up with it, was barely able to respond, was forced to recall a couple of times, but again, by the time he was able to push out, Cure had to respect it. And again, just the death blow of an army was too much to handle. Cure was overwhelmed. but that's kind of a one in a best of kind of game. We're not going to be seeing that again. Like, that was very map specific. That was very much so something you can do on Alcyone, not on Oceanborn, not on Golden Aura, not on Hardlead. I expect very different games moving forward. Go. As of for now, we do have a bit of a probe scatter across the map, going for the gate, cyber expand, standard opener, and a big shout out to papi, fala galera. Obrigado, papi, obrigado. Big shout out to Icecar in the chat. Thank you so much for subscribing. 21 months. That's a lot of months. That's a long time, but thank you so much for the support. We appreciate it. Big shout out to Icecar. For those who are maybe unaware, Icecar is an ESL admin. He does work over at ESL, so thank you so much for all the work that you put into StarCraft. Thank you so much for allowing all these events, to all the ESL related events, to run smoothly. Thank you, papi, thank you. Do appreciate it. And we appreciate the support as well. Big shout out to Icecar. As I am kind of Eats on the horizon, I know it's going to be a lot of work as well, so best of luck, Icecar. Best of luck. As we are going to be settling into this. You're welcome, Pop. You're welcome. We do our part, Pop. We do our part. All for StarCraft. All for StarCraft. As we do have a much more economic opener here from Cure. Oh no, my apologies. Still double gas. It was double gas from Cure. Going for his factory, going to the Cyclone, into his CC on the low ground. Stalker does arrive in time to get a worker kill, but doesn't delay the CC. Meanwhile, good movement here out of Cure. Oh my god, the stutter stepping! And can we pick up the Stalker? Oh, we barely cannot. Second Stalker arrives just in time, as does the Cyclone. Bit of a trade, bit of a back and forth. Classic does come out ahead. He picks up an SCV, picks up a couple of Marines before pulling back. And meanwhile, behind this, Cure is not done. Remember last game, he did try to be aggressive with Marines and Cyclones, and we have the medevac on the way. Cure going for a Cyclone drop. Meanwhile, Classic once again opening up Stargate. Stargate straight into that Robo. Straight into what would be Phoenix Colossus. Now, before that does occur, Classic could be rotating around. Pushing in towards that natural. Gets another Marine. Again, Stim isn't done, so we can afford to do this. Chris moves out of Classic. Phoenixes are on the way. Here comes that Cyclone drop. Now, thankfully for Classic, he's already pulling back. He's already racing home with those Stalkers. If he was outside the base, then he would have so little to defend. He does pull back to his natural. Phoenix does arrive. Again, we're in position at the natural, not quite in the main base, so we can get some worker kills. We can go for some probes. There we go, Cyclone straight into the mineral line. Probes are going to be going down. We get one, we get two. 3, 4 workers here. We dive on the Phoenix as well. And can we pick it off? We can. Ooh. At the cost of the medevac. And Cure is going to be losing everything here in the main. But at least he traded, and he got a full scout. He's aware of the Stargate. He got 4 worker kills and 1 Phoenix. Losing the Cyclones was brutal, though. That does mean that Cure is that much weaker back at home. And saying that, there shouldn't really be too much of a counterattack. Phoenixes are moving out, that's true. But you can see here that we're cutting Phoenix production, just like the last game. Just like last game, Classic, he actually doesn't make too many Phoenixes. He made 2 this game. Only 2 Phoenixes, straight into Immortal, straight to Bay, straight to third base, straight to Colossus. So again, just really greedy play here out of Classic as he loses his Phoenix. Ay. And the reason why this is greedy is that without Phoenixes, you don't have map control, which means your opponent can push, can go for drop play, and you won't know about it. You won't see it coming. So Classic is vulnerable right now. He does remake that 1 Phoenix. The Bay is done. Colossus is going to be on the way momentarily. Cure is going to be pushing, and just like the last game, right now Classic is quite vulnerable, and Cure has potential with this push. But Classic, he has a sentry on top of that ramp. He's looking for a force field. He knows that a push is imminent. He knows he's vulnerable. He knows that Cure is most likely going to move out. And Classic, he's ready for it. With as little as he has, he can take a fight with a good force field. Now Cure, he does avoid that ramp. Does rotate over. Oh, trying to fake out Classic. There we go. Forces Clash to back off. Does create an opening. Good movement so far out of Cure. Finds his way up the ramp. Force field not going to be good enough. Guardian shield is popped. We do lift one of those tanks. But big tank volleys go off. Big disable here on that Immortal. On the Immortal is Cure. Gotta be distracted though. Goes for the scan. Sees the army. Shield battery is about to finish up. And we back up. A wise move from Cure. He can't quite break that. Will have to retreat. And Classic, he survives. He does survive. I appreciate that he's reinvesting into these Phoenixes. We've got a third Phoenix on the way. Catching a couple of units. Just making sure that we're able to keep up with the drop play of Cure. And Classic, he's settling into his Colossi. Meanwhile, Cure building up his bio army. His third base is up and running. We have Stim, Combat Shields +1, all finishing up. So a pretty nice timing is going to be available here for Cure, but because Colossi are already out, Cure can't really engage. The Ravens! Oh my god. They're so low, and he wants them, and he will barely not get them. The clutch repair. Jesus. Cure, he was so quick to repair, barely keeps him alive. Likewise, Classic doesn't lose a Phoenix. That was a very tense moment. No one loses anything, but they could have lost everything. Now, bearing in mind these Ravens, they do have disables available. They do have interference matrix. Phoenixes are looking for them. Once again, good movement out of Cure. Does pull back. Does save that Raven. And again, some two good disables on those Colossi, and Cure, he can bust in. He can take a fight. Ravens do take a lot of damage. There are disables. We get one. We get two. Both Colossi, they are rendered. No, they can't do much of anything. One tank goes down. Tank is sieging, but quite far behind. We have the overcharge, keeping those Colossi alive, and we avoid it. We go straight for the natural, straight for the dive. Robot's going to go down. Big pick off. Going to be losing the tanks. This is going to be a one-way trip. As Cure, he's not happy with the natural. Goes straight to the main. Dives into the main base. Probes are going down. 10, 11, 12, 8. Oh my god. 24. 24 workers fall. Good damage done here to the economy. But can we escape? Can we get out? Reinforcements are on the way. Curie's just rallying everything across the map. Colossi are going hand. They clean up the Marines. They clean up the Marauders. Cure will lose his army and some of these medevacs. Again, not too many Phoenixes, so some of them may escape. But Cure, he crippled the economy. 24 worker kills. Cure, he's up 20 workers. Rebuilding his army, and Classic, he's not counterattacking. He lost his Robo. No more Colossi. Cure, he's in a really good position. He's in an amazing position. He crippled the production, the economy. Forcing an all-in that's not going to work. Classic knows it. He can't commit. Classic is stuck at home. Stuck at home, just rebuilding. And Cure, he's running away with this. Again, it was a very adventurous dive from Cure, and it was worth it. It was worth it in the end. He's not done. Mind Drill coming in. Classic should be able to react. And does pull away in time. Does manage to pull away. Now, the purpose of that Mind Drop wasn't to deal damage, it was to scout. The medevac got a full scout of the main base. We confirmed that there was no Fleet Beacon. There's no Skytoss transition. Did confirm the gateways. And Cure is going to be comfortable pushing in. Now, this time he doesn't have any Ravens. The Raven count was reset, so no more disables. He does have Vikings. And does have a lot of Marauders. He's got Ghost for EMPs. Cure, he is up 40 supply. 50 supply even. And depending on the angle of attack, he could break Classic here and now. Going for a Doom Drop instead? Oh my god, okay. Fair enough. Going for a Doom drop into the main base. Some of the army has been spotted. It does confirm the location of Classic, which means we can go into the main unhindered, unscouted. Massive drop. Probe's going to be going down. We can focus down the base itself. The next is going to fall. And from here, we can just get the hell out of here. We can just pick up and leave. Oh my god, we're going for the pylons, going for the production. We depower, we deny Blink, and +2. Mike going ham. Good Storm. Storm is going to turn this back. Kira will be losing this army, but he trades well here. He has more reinforcements on the way, crashing into the third base, forcing the overcharge. We get into another mineral line. And more probes are going down. 7 more workers fall. And can we get the Colossus? Not quite. Oh my god. As we lose a lot of Marines here in the retreats. Classic has a decent army, but again, it's his economy, it's his production. He just lost his main. He lost a lot of his pylons. A lot of his units, or a lot of his production was depowered. Here, he's just pulling Classic apart. He's just pulling him apart at this point. And how do we come back if we are Classic? I would say Storms are a way to come back. He does have Storm available. If he's able to land like some perfect Storms, a perfect engagement, he can maybe take a fight. Likewise, Disruptors will be another way to come back into this as well. Novas are the great equalizers, and 1 or 2 good Nova can swing a fight in favor of Classic. The problem is he needs to win one big fight and then counterattack immediately. We'll see if he can. Here he comes in with his army, does avoid most of the Storm, will base out 2 of them, does go for the EMP. That's it, no more Storms are available, not with the main army. Still wants to oh, from behind! Storm from behind as well. Classic doing the best he can here. He will lose his ground army though. The Stalkers go down, the Zealots as well. The Colossi, they barely stand strong. Classic does take a fight, but he traded. He traded out an army. He doesn't have detection. Oh god. Widow Mines are about to reset. Kira can remax, Classic can't. That's why I said that Classic needs to win a fight and then counterattack, but just doesn't have enough to counterattack. Doesn't have enough left over. It's a very good fight, but was not enough to bring Classic back into this. Well, we catch a couple of units. We catch a Ghost. Very nice pickups. At the same time, Mind Jump coming into the natural. Forcing Classic back. Oh god. Mind Jump into the main, but there's nothing to kill in the main base. Stalkers are in position in the Mind Jump. Gonna be delayed for now. But Kira's about to max out, so do get a bit of a Zealot drop into the natural, but there's only a single Zealot that will be dealt with. Here we go. Now Kira, he can push. Now, Kira's army is split, so he doesn't have the most terrifying like main force. Big Mind Shot though. 5 probes go down. You can see Kira trying to pull apart his opponent. Big EMP here on the High Templar. Immortal gets picked off. I think he's just trying to survive. Trying to hold on. He's got a couple of Storms in the chamber. Another Doom drop into the main. Now, thankfully for Classic, there's actually not much to kill in the main base. There's not much left there. But again, the idea is to just pull apart the army, the supply of Classic, then take a better fight. Here we go, drop into the main base. Yeah, we're going for the Forge, going for the upgrades. Classic is getting ready for the main push. We have a Storm. Oh, massive Storm. Good feedbacks as well. Classic forcing this back. Okay, Classic, he's been down like 50 plus supply for like the past 5 minutes. But he's been fighting well. Unfortunately, he can't keep up with the drop play, and he will lose everything in the main. Everything gets depowered. Templar Archives go down. No more High Templar, no more Storms. We can't replace them. 2 High Templar in position. Shows the EMP. EMP 1 second too late. Classic holding on surprisingly well here. It's impressive. But gateways are falling. The Colossus, it overextends! No! Colossus finally goes down. Overextension from Classic, and now we're going for a big counterattack. But this is what Cure wanted. He wanted to fight out of the open. GG gets called, and Cure will tie up the series 1-1. GG, well played. Getting Cure, he was able to pull apart Classic, and the game-winning move, of course, was the push out with those Ravens, the disables on the Colossi, the dive into the natural, then into the main base. We killed over 20 workers with that dive. We depowered so much in the main, and from that moment, Cure was in the driver's seat. Cure was ahead. Cure was winning. And Classic, he just had to try to bring himself back in, and there were some really good fights. Like, imagine if Classic was in that game with a comparable economy, then I mean, maybe Classic wins, but he was just so far behind at that point, it didn't even matter. It didn't matter how well Classic was fighting. It was just too much to overcome. And with that, we're going to the ace match. Going all the way to game number 3. And game 3, going to be on Solaris. Let's go. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Solaris, we have our Korean Protoss player for Twisted Minds, Classic. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have for Team Liquid, Cure. Here we go. Ooh. So we are going to be getting ready for the ace match. It all ends here. It all ends on Solaris. Going to be an interesting one. So Solaris has a lot of bases. Hello, Mr. SCV. As we're going the long way around. We'll see where this SCV takes us here. We have a Rax back at home. I'm feeling either an eBay block or a bunker behind the mineral line. Classic is scouting though, and he does come across the SCV. Very big scouts. A beautiful scout here from Classic. He will make sure that the eBay is not going to finish, or it will not delay the expansion. There we go, the boys are already being pulled, the eBay has been thrown down, but again, there's barely any progression on this eBay. Really good scouting, really good positioning out of Classic, and he will force a cancel. Again, it has become more commonplace in current era of StarCraft to go for these eBay blocks in this matchup, and Protoss players have been getting better and better at scouting and getting on top of this. Force a cancel, and we expand. So good start here by Classic. Cure unable to really disrupt the opener. And now Cure's in a kind of a rough position. So when you go for an eBay block, you delay your expansion. It is a single gas opener, yes, but you go for a factory to go into Hellions and Cyclones to try to take advantage of your opponent. So it's a very aggressive opener out of Cure. It means that his CC is late. Cure's CC is going to be delayed. But talking about the map, again, Solaris has a lot of bases to take, that is true. But at the same time, it's quite wide, it's quite long. So bases can be difficult to defend, especially on fringe locations because they are so spread apart. So things can get very chaotic as the game progresses. Likewise, we do have a lot of choke points, we have a lot of speed zones to take advantage of as well. Because of all these choke points, it can be hard being the aggressor. It can be difficult like breaking into these defensive bases and these defensive siege lines for both players. So we'll see how this goes as Classic mixes it up. We have a Twilight Council. Let's go. Twilight Council opener, it's going to be Blink Stalkers. Meanwhile, Adept is going to get caught out. We do manage to barely save the Hellion. Oh, what a bus! Hellion survives. Adept does get picked off. Nicely done there by Cure. Behind this, getting into the 1-1-1. Again, the CC was delayed. It's still on the way. Classic's goal here is to delay that command center even further. As he dips in and he wants that SCV. Oh. And he will not get it. He does delay the base by a couple of seconds, but not quite worth it in the end. We'll pull back. Now behind this, 3 gateways. We have Blink, we have 3 gates on the way, so quite an aggressive opener from Classic. We'll see if he throws down a 4th gateway to double down. For now, 3-gate Blink. Now with 3-gate Blink, you do have enough Stalkers to take map control and to contain your opponent. Typically you don't dive, but if your opponent's being too greedy, then you can Blink into the main. You have the option to. This is not overly aggressive though, like we should be taking a relatively faster 3rd base here for Classic. I say relatively fast. We'll see how many warp-ins we go for. See how many warp-ins as the Marine drop goes into the main base. Going for the pylon. Uh-oh. At the same time, Hellion dives into the natural. We get eyes on the gateways. Big scout here by Cure. He does confirm the Twilight Council. He confirms the 3 gates as well. Which means he knows he needs tanks. And there it is, immediately Bunker. Bunker is on the way in the production tab. Cure, he is aware of the threat of those Mass Blink Stalkers. And there it is, tank production has commenced. Cure should also be aware that it's not 4-gate Blink Stalkers, so he doesn't have to be overly defensive. Just has to respect the army. Looks Viking getting ready for harass. Marine drop as well. Stellaris would be a great Archon team name for Solar and Colaris. I mean, you're not wrong. Not wrong. As here we go, we have the Viking landing here, and the natural we do take down the Stalker. Remember, Vikings, they do actually trade well against Stalkers. To get 1, 4 probes go down. And Classic, as he was getting ready to push out, he's stuck at home here, losing 5 workers. Cure. He slips in, he trades very well here. Gets another Stalker. He'll start stepping out of Cure. Will be cleaned up. That is 6 probe kills and 2 Stalkers as well. Did delay the push. Finally, Classic is going to be moving out, but Cure has plenty of time to respond. We have a bunker on the low ground. We have a tank on the high ground. Marines are being split. Raven harass coming in. Cure just doesn't slow down. Meanwhile, Classic, he has delayed his 3rd. His 3rd is later than normal. He is going for another big warp in. Classic, he wants to make up for his losses. We'll see if he can. 2nd bunker's on the way. Trying to bait out that tank shot. We dive in. We get a master round of the tank. It barely survives. Oh my god! The tank doesn't die! No shot. If the repairs are too good, the tank survives. The bunker as well. 1 bunker falls, but that was a beautiful trade for Cure. That should not have happened. The tank refusing to go down. Classic rotating over towards the main. Auto touch harassing the main base of the opponent though. Cyclone goes down, but we have a tank in position. Massive tank volleys go off. We're bleeding out too much. Too many Stalkers going down. Classic falling further and further behind. Classic still hasn't expanded. Still no expansion here from Classic. More tank volleys going off as well. The Prism goes down. No reinforcements. We go for the dive. Ooh, the mine. The mine forces friendly fire, but GG gets called, and Cure will take the series 2-1. Will shut down Classic. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Again, Cure achieving so much damage with this drop. The Marine drop and the Viking harass got far too much done, and after they had killed 6 workers and 2 Stalkers, Classic basically went all in. He went all in, but Cure, he scattered everything with his aggression earlier. He was so prepared for it, so clutch with the repair. The repair on that tank was the MVP. It survived. It survived, what, like 3 or 4 volleys? It was crazy. Just tanked so many shots from those Stalkers. It was insane. And with that, Cure does take it in the end. It does take the series. GG. GG, well played. With that, we are going to be going on a short break. Going to be going on a short break here in a couple of minutes. We're going to return with another TVP with Björn versus Trigger. We'll see you guys soon.
大家好，我是星际争霸2世界冠军李培南。作为职业选手，每天大部分时间都是在电脑前度过。每次训练结束都会有不同程度的腰酸背痛，所以我们对电竞椅的要求都非常严格，能保护腰部并且坐感舒适，成为我们挑电竞椅的重要指标。我们一直在用的奥风电竞椅就完美做到这一点。升级的锥背小弹腰有足够的支撑力，并且上下前后都能调节，坐着很舒服，非常适合大家玩游戏的时候使用。不论用什么姿势，正坐、靠着、躺着。腰托都可以支撑我的腰部，非常舒服。再来坐感，这款还配置了空调坐垫，夏天凉爽，冬天温暖，真的是跟空调一样精准控温。训练久了总觉得闷热，坐垫有3档风度调节，游戏再也不闷屁股了。现在天气转凉了，坐垫同样配置了3档加热功能，让身体一直保持温暖，游戏手感一直火热。训练之余刷刷手机休息一下，玩玩手游。6D 机械手臂可以自调节高度，手臂不会感觉累，同时扶手面很大，即使有大动作也不会落空。相信我，跟我一起选择奥风机械大师电竞椅，你也可以逆袭成为冠军。
打开微信，搜索公众号“星际老男孩 SC Boy”，这里有每日的直播预告、重要的赛事报道、精彩的视频剪辑、有趣的主播八卦、定期的抽奖福利以及爆笑的节奏和评论。关注 SC Boy 官方公众号，365天每天更新，让你与20万猛男一起更便捷的享受我和黄哥给大家带来的快乐。不要告诉别人哟。
As we have returned, and we are halfway through the broadcast. We are halfway through. We just wrapped up with Cyril versus Solar and with Classic versus Cure. In this tournament, in this group stage so far, we've had a lot of 2-0s. We've had a lot of 2-0s in Masters Coliseum. It is great to see that here tonight, a lot of ace matches, a lot of game 3s. We have gone the distance. Can we continue to make that a trend though? Because up next, Björn versus Trigger. We have another TVP. If you are in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on how you think this matchup will unfold, as we are going to be dipping into the lower match. Both Trigger and Björn have yet to win a series in Masters Coliseum. They've both had a very rough group stage. Björn, he did lose to both Shin and Raynor in TVZs, and Trigger had a hard time as well. Did end up dropping maps and dropping games against Cure and Solar. So neither player has yet to win a series yet, and they're looking to maybe not even make it out of the group stage. But here we go in the top right-hand corner. We have Trigger for Basilisk. And in the bottom left, we have as opponent, we have Björn for Shopify. And the pressure is on. Again, both players have been struggling so far in Master Coliseum, which means one of these players is finally going to win. One of these players will come out with a point on the board. I believe the loser of this series may no longer have a chance on making it out of the group stage. Again, this is a group stage, and 8 players will advance, 8 players will be eliminated. It is brutal in that sense. It is a brutal group stage where half make it in, half do not, and Björn and Trigger, they are fighting for their lives right now. You know, a big shout out to the sponsors, Doyu, Honkai Star, Tidal, Orderful, and Pew Pew. Big shout out to the sponsors here for making this event happen, for making Master Coliseum a reality. Best of luck as we do settle into this. So I'm just dying a little bit. Alright, here we go. So Björn going to be going for a double gas opener. It's going to be double gas here out of Björn, which means a faster factory, means a delayed command center. Meanwhile, Trigger going for a gate cyber expand, standard opener out of Trigger, a more aggressive opener out of Björn. Now, traditionally, Trigger, he is one to open up Twilight Council. He's very fond of Twilight Council-based play in this matchup. We'll see if that continues to be the trend, or if he does dabble in Stargate play instead. Blink Stalkers is what I expect to be seeing, though. Now, we already saw a TVP earlier on Alkione. We saw Classic just get away with so much greed on this map. I don't know if Trigger is really one to try to be that wild and that crazy. I don't think he's one to really embrace that kind of side of things, especially against Beyond. Like, Beyond is a very aggressive player himself, so it can be quite difficult to get away with that kind of greed against Beyond, but we'll see. We shall see. For now, Reaper going to be dipping into the natural base. Ooh, we have our tech of choice, and it is going to be the Stargate. Again, we spoke about how this map is quite large, and I do like Stargate play on larger maps. Maps like Alcyone, maps like Rad Desert Station. I do think that Phoenix base play can be quite powerful just because it can be hard to punish it. But Beyond, he dips into the main base, he gets into the mineral line as well, and will he see the tech? Oh, he does. He does dip in, he does confirm the Stargate. Beyond is aware. Now behind this, Trigger has options. He can go Phoenix or Oracle. I would like Phoenixes from here. We'll see if he does dabble in the Oracle, which is a more aggressive style. Meanwhile, back at home, Beyond going for Cyclones, going for a Medevac. He has no fear. Despite the potential despite the potential Phoenixes on the way, Beyond still going for a drop. Now, as we've seen before, Cyclone drops in TVP can be quite terrifying. They can get a lot of damage done. They can just have their way with the mineral line, especially if the Protoss is out of position. It's going to be on Trigger to keep up. It's going to be on Trigger to come across and shut down this drop before it gets out of hand. And we'll see if we can. See if we can. As there we go, the drop is moving out. So we have 2 Cyclones, we have 4 Marines alongside this. Again, no stim, bear that in mind. There is no stim with this, they are vanilla Marines, but they can do a lot of damage here to the army as we are waiting for more Cyclones. You have my attention. So typically you move out with 2 Cyclones, but Beyond, he's waiting for an extra round of Cyclones and he's waiting for a Liberator. This is going to be a very aggressive push from Beyond, a very aggressive build. Ay. Now, unlike Classic, Trigger is amassing Phoenixes. Again, this is a more traditional form of TVP, a more traditional form of Stargate play, where the Protoss player wants to amass Phoenixes to deny a drop. Speaking of, Medevac is revealed, only a handful of Cyclones as well, but here comes the rest of the army. Now Beyond has control of the Zanaga. Trigger, he doesn't know how committed this is. Beyond just waiting for his extra wave of reinforcements. They are on the way. Third base being taken. Cyclones, they do arrive. We do force Trigger back. He does have a shield battery, he does have an overcharge. Overcharge is available. Liberator going into the main. And we do just zone Trigger away from his own expansion. The third base looking very exposed, and 7 probes go down, 8 probes. That Lib is going ham. No reaction. Trigger, he's not reacting to the Liberator. We get 13 probes, 14 in the main base. The kill count is getting high. Oh my god. This is game-ending damage. 18, 19 probe kills. Trigger just now realizes, just now pulls away. Beyond, he was doing such a great job distracting. He does force a cancel at the third, and Trigger, what is there left? He lost half his workers, he lost the third base, he was completely pulled apart, and now he's all in. Now he's all in at this point. Like, there's no macroing out of this. It's not gonna happen. Trigger has to push out, but the problem is that Beyond still has an army. Beyond didn't lose anything. He forced a cancel of the third base and he backed off. Trigger going to the main. There is potential for some maybe harassing damage, killing some SCVs. He needs to, do some counter damage. We get a couple of workers here in the main. SCVs, they will fall. We get 3 of them. That's something. But we need to get so much more. Trigger behind this, going into a bay, going to Colossi. And we'll get there, but Beyond, he has a massive lead. Like, it's insane. So we don't typically get into game states quite like this. And you can see Trigger like on cans as well, especially once he realizes what's happening. He looks very uncomfortable. It's just a very difficult position to be in. Everything has to go right. Like, there's a world where maybe he can get more SCVs. And here we go, 3 more workers, that's 6 in total. That's something. Gets a couple more SCVs. He's now retaking his third. Colossal production has commenced. He's going to be pulling back. Trigger, he's on the road to recovery here. It's a long road to walk, but we're on it. And Bjorn, he's gonna be hitting a very strong timing. So, Stim, Combat Shield, and +1. They're all on the way. They're all gonna finish up in under a minute. And by the time they do, Bjorn is gonna be pushing. He may even push before it. And his push is gonna hit like a truck. It's gonna be brutal. As we have one Colossus here on top of the ramp. We have a shield battery, we have an overcharge. Overcharge can help. Bjorn going to be rotating around, going straight for that natural base. The Immortal does probably goes right for it. The Immortal is going to go down. That's going to be a lot of swipes here on the Bio Army. Yeah, we have no fear. We have no fear. We step on forward. We dive on what little is left here. The Trigger has. Loses one more Immortal. And we get into the mineral line. The probes! Not again. And we're going to be losing so many workers here at the Naturals. 19, 20 probes go down. And even if Trigger cleans up this army, a GG gets called, Bjorn will take game number 1. GG. Oh, the contrast. I like how we get one series where we have Classic, like, sipping on some whiskey, then cut to Bjorn drinking some milk. Oh, and some bread. Let's go. Bjorn, he's making me hungry. I'll get some food after the cast. Beautiful. Let's go. Wholesome, papi, wholesome. As again, game 1 was quite brutal. Again, it was a very aggressive build by Bjorn. Unfortunately, was unscattered. Remember, Trigger, he had control of the Zolnaga, but Bjorn only revealed only a handful of units at the Zolnaga, cleaned it up, and then he committed to his push. Trigger had no idea what was coming, had no idea what was on the way, and he was woefully underprepared. Not just that, but unfortunately just a very delayed reaction to the Liberator. The Liberator won the game for Bjorn. That was the MVP lib. What was it? 19, 20 probe kills on one Liberator was brutal, and in that game state, it's almost impossible for anyone to recover. Like, give us Hero, Max Packs, Classic, they would all struggle from there. Just a really brutal position, and yeah, just a rough start. A rough start for Trigger. Hopefully we can bring it back. Hopefully we can bounce back here in game number 2. I do want to believe. This game 2 is going to be on Hecate. Go. As we are loading on in and spawning in the top right hand corner, we have our Canadian Protoss, Trigger, for Basilisk. And in the bottom left, we have our South Korean Terran player. For Shopify, it is Bjorn. And Bjorn just having some dinner while he plays, just nibbling on some bread, getting some milk. Beautiful. Power he needs to bring this home. Meanwhile, Trigger has to fight back here and now. Remember, it's a best of 3. It's a very short series. Very short series here. We have to bring it back here and now. And hopefully we can. Hopefully we can force that ace match. We've seen nothing but ace matches so far. I'm hoping we can get some more. There we go. Bjorn once again going double gas. Once again, Bjorn is going to be the aggressor. We saw that in game 1, this led into a triple Cyclone push with Liberators, with Medevacs, with Marines. Like, it was, again, very dedicated push from Bjorn in game 1. We shouldn't see the same thing here. It is double gas again. That is true. We're going to see a faster factory. True again, but I don't think we're going to commit as hard. We probably should deviate away from that, especially on Hecate. Hecate is known for its defender's advantage. The reason for this is that ramp that we just saw. The ramp leading into the natural is so narrow that it's so difficult to really push up that ramp without losing most of your army. So we'll see how Bjorn approaches this. We'll see if he does adapt. For now, going to be a racks into factory, as we mentioned, with that double gas. Meanwhile, Trigger going for a gate cyber expand. Standard opener once again out of Trigger. Now, on a map like Hecate, once again, because of that narrow ramp, I wouldn't be opposed to another Stargate opener, but after what happened in game 1, it's very possible, very likely, that Trigger wants to go Twilight Council instead. We'll see. We'll see what Trigger is thinking. We'll see how he does tech up in this game. which direction will we go in. As the Reaper is going to be diving on in, looking to get a read on that tech, whether it's a Stargate, whether it's a Robo, or a Twilight Council. Beyond is on the hunt. And there it is, a Twilight Council opener from Trigger, which again I do like. I do appreciate this a lot more here, especially after what happened in that previous game, especially on a much smaller map. Likewise, Trigger can be aggressive here on Hecate, can threaten dives into the main, depending on how many gateways he throws down. Now, I'll be honest, I think this is just going to be 2 gates, just 2 gate blink into a third. We'll see if Trigger does throw down additional gateways. Meanwhile, we have Cyclones in production for Beyond, that starport. We have that medevac as well, so once again, Beyond opening up with a Cyclone drop. We'll see if he commits again. So, if we see a Liberator after that medevac, I mean, we're gonna know. We should be seeing an add-on, like a Tech Lab into Raven production, but we'll keep our eyes on Beyond. But now just moving on with this first handful of Cyclones. Second gateway is on the way. So far 2 gates for Trigger. There's the Robo. And we'll see if he throws down the 3rd gateway or if he goes for an expand. There's the 3rd gate! So 3 gate blink here from Trigger, which means far more aggressive from our Protoss player. Means he's going to have an abundance of units to work with. Meanwhile, we spoke about the Tech Lab with the Raven. There it is. We have our Tech Lab, we have our Raven on the way. So Beyond isn't being as aggressive as the previous game, but he's getting to really early tank production. Oh my god. Very early tank production as the first Cyclone does arrive. Only 1 Cyclone. We do manage to get 1 probe. And we get a Stalker as well. Beyond. Very good trades here. Gets even more probes. No shot. Juggling is good. We get 4 workers and a Stalker. And we don't even lose a Cyclone. Very good start here by Beyond. Prism is on the way. Trigger wants to move out. He wants to be aggressive. But Beyond, he already has a tank. Like, again, really early tank production here by Beyond. He's going to be so ready for Blink Stalkers. And of course, he scouted. He saw the tech. Up! Oh my god. That medevac is so low. We get another 2 probes. We do escape. 4 now. Again, 1 or 2 more shots is all we need. Raven going to be coming into support. Second tank on the way. Trigger is expanding, is taking his 3rd, but he should be pushing out. As he moves out, Raven harass here in the main base. Trigger, he needs to get some counter damage done. Now, we haven't seen the main yet, but there we go. There's that second tank from Beyond. Going to be repositioning. The main base looking a little bit exposed. Yeah, Beyond going to be pushing, which means he's not ready in the main. Trigger, he does slip in. And SCVs are going to be going down. Yeah, Trigger racing back home with those Marines. Tank comes out in time. And Beyond should be able to sort this away. But he loses 3 SCVs in the process. At the same time, Beyond is still pushing. Gets a Stalker. Let's pick up a Stalker. Forces a recall. Does force a recall back home. And Beyond's goal here with this push should be to try to deny the base. But I don't think he can. There are just so many Stalkers. Yeah, the Marine's going to be going down. And Beyond's overextending. Not respecting the army here of Trigger. 1 tank goes down. 2nd tank as well. Beyond throwing away so much. Again, maybe not expecting the recall, maybe not ready for that amount of Stalkers back at home, but he is punished for it. He does get a couple of worker kills, but losing 2 tanks suddenly means that Trigger, he's fine. Like, he is under no threat of a push. Trigger, he is stabilizing his 3rd base up and running. Up to 52 workers. Beyond going to be stuck at home. You see Beyond desperately going for a double drop instead. I mean, he needs to make something happen here. Double drop so far unscattered. Meanwhile, Trigger is just containing. Trigger, he has no intention of pushing in. He just, outside the base, is containing his opponent. 3rd CC is on the way for Beyond. Oh, and we do come across the Prism. Now, did we see each other? I don't know if Bjorn saw the War Prism, because otherwise he probably would have gone for the Prism kill. Instead, he's going to be committing into the main. Water Tower going to be distracting Trigger. Double drop slipping into the main base. We go for the scan. And Bjorn, he's unscouted. He's out of vision. They're going to be waddling on him, but they do get shut down. Yeah, we go for the pylon. We deny the Warpin as well. Massive denial there from Trigger. Bjorn is going for the Immortal as well. He will get a snipe. He will get a pick up. And nothing shoots up. We have charge loss to defend, which means we can just pick up and get the hell out of there. Meanwhile, Bjorn breaks through, pushing towards the third. Still getting more damage done than the natural. That's going to be a lot of charge loss though. Trigger, he can take a head-to-head fight, and Bjorn will respect it. He will back up. He was just waiting for reinforcements. Does have a tank. Army does get scouted. We're going to rotate over. We have 2 Widow Mines with this army as well. How good are the mines just going to be? Good pull away there by Bjorn. Okay, good trades here with the Zealous. The Nexus is off taking a lot of damage. To get the mine shot. Big connection on those Zealots once again. The double jump coming back into the natural as well. Oh, Stalker's going to get picked off. That Immortal should be able to... Sorry, the Colossus should be able to hold on. So we get behind the mineral line, taking down the gas geyser. The drop in the natural gets cleaned up. We dive on the Colossus, but we're not going to get it. Oh, Bjorn being a little bit too aggressive here, a little bit too overeager. Bleeds out a lot of units diving on that Colossus. Trigger holds. Trigger, he does hold on, has been losing a lot of probes though, that's the problem. Even though Bjorn has been bleeding out a lot of units, that's true, he's been bleeding out a lot of Marines, bleeding out a lot of Marauders and tanks. But Bjorn has an economy. He's on 3 bases, he's on 70 workers plus mules. Bjorn, he just has a better economy than Trigger. And that's typically something that should not be happening in this matchup. That is reflected in the supplies. And Trigger, he's kind of stuck at home here. He can't really be active. If he is active, he'd be swallowed up. He's stuck at home taking it forth. He has to recover, build up his Colossus, get into Disruptors or Immortals. Second Robo's on the way. But Bjorn, he has free reign. It's free reign of the entire map. Once again, is pushing. Is going to get scouted. Trigger is aware. Do we have a disable? We do not. It's going to be an anti-armor missile instead. Pushing into these 2 Colossi, it's not going to happen. Bjorn has to move back. At the same time, a Zealot run by here at the 3rd base of Bjorn. Have a mine drop. Mine drop into the mineral lines. And cannons are going to be dealing with them. 6 SCVs go down. And how good are the mine shots? Up. Looks like only getting 1 probe. Oh, did I speak too soon? No! No reaction! Oh, gee, that could have been so much worse. 3 probes go down. A lot of them were stacked up. 3 workers full. Bjorn still has that worker lead. Getting his 4th base up and running. And building up towards Ghosts as well as Vikings. Again, Bjorn, he has been having some really rough fights and really rough trades. Because Bjorn has been a little bit too overly aggressive, like Trigger, he's able to somewhat stabilize. We've spoken about this before, but this is very Trigger. He got up to 3 Colossi and he's not making Disruptors. Trigger, he is one that has been very fond of incorporating Massive Mortal instead. So he's going for 3 Colossi and then just Massive Mortal behind it. This is just a good way to deal with Mass Marauder. Like, we should be seeing a Marauder heavy composition from Bjorn, and this is just a secure way to deal with it. It's a little bit less potent than Disruptor, but you don't have to rely as much on your Novas. And if you're not too confident, or if you feel like your opponent is just really good at avoiding Purification Novas, then this could be a good alternative. Like, Max Pact has been playing around with this a lot as well. In general, in the new patch, this is a composition that has been kind of rising in popularity. We'll see how well it can work. we do have a big Zelda counterattack. Oh, the Mind Shots will clean this up, though. Zelda force back. Bjorn reinforcing. Bjorn has maxed out essentially 200 supply. He's pushing towards that linear third. Trigger does spot. He does see the army. He's going to rotate around. He does get here just in time. As I say that, we do push up the ramp. Overcharge is popped. Mind Shot's going to be going up. We have a really good concave. The EMPs! We cover so many Stalkers. And again, there's no disruptors. There's no storms. There's no other form of splash damage. Done loading up, splitting up his army. Gonna try and pull apart the army of Trigger. And we'll see if he can. So about Trigger, he's holding on. He is holding, taking a fifth. And as we get ready for the next big fight, a big shout out to Thriving GG. Thank you so much, Bobby, for the raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. A bit of a shorter stream today. But here we go. We do dive on in. Shield battery goes down. Ooh, Boy's almost being pulled. And Trigger, he is being pulled apart. On the right-hand side, Trigger is going to be able to hold on. But towards the left, he is being broken. The Stalkers, the Immortals, they are falling. And Bjorn finds the fifth. Forces a recall, but he's getting into the mineral line. Depowers the Robo, catches another Immortal. These Marauders trading so well. 12 probes go down. And counting. Again, the push on left-hand side did achieve so much here. 17 workers over a mineral line. And even though Bjorn did lose a lot of units, even though he traded quite heavily, he has an economy. He has 80 workers behind this. Bjorn, he's almost already remaxed. And Trigger, he's still in the back foot. He's still stuck defending. His production depowered. Can't get into additional Immortal production. +3 is on the way, but we have Liberators. The freedom. Freedom is coming. Liberation is upon us. And we'll see if we can make it that far as Bjorn is pushing once again towards those Colossi on the right-hand side. He gets one. He's going to get two. Both Colossi, they go down. Very limited anti-air. The Vikings, they land. And we can just dive on everything else here. Overcharge, keeping the Immortal alive. But it's not enough. There's just too much DPS. And Bjorn, he's running away with this. He's breaking through. And he will take down the fifth. Fifth next is going to be going down. The boys are trying to be evacuated, but alas, the writing is on the wall here. Bjorn, almost 100 supply up. And GG gets called. Bjorn will take the series 2-0, winning his first series of Masters Coliseum. GG. GG, well played. Again, both of these players have been having a hard time here in Masters Coliseum, but one will finally get a win. The other, unfortunately, will take another loss, and I don't think it's possible for Trigger to make it to the playoffs now. Again, he's had a really rough group stage, and that may be the end of his run in Masters Coliseum. I hope that's not the case. We'll have a look at the standings afterwards. But things looking a little bit bleak for Trigger. Meanwhile, we're getting ready for our next matchup. We're going to be going on a short break. When we return, the highlight series of the night, Maru versus Dark. We will see you soon. Maru versus Cyril. It was beautiful. But again, Maru, he's already taken down the best Terran and the best Zerg player, or the best Zergs and Terrans like that were to oppose him. Now he's up against Dark, one of the best Zerg players in Korea, arguably the best Zerg in Korea right now, and a very different kind of player compared to Cyril. The Cyril series was very much so macro oriented, with a lot of Lingbane Hydra aggression, a lot of late game. Dark is one to try to end the game earlier. He's a very aggressive player, very in your face, very fond of roach-based play. If he sees an opening, he will knight us all in you as well. Dark is hyper aggressive, and we'll see if Maru can have success against him. We'll see if he can have better success against Dark than he has in the past. Meanwhile, Dark likewise has also been flexing his own ZVT. In the lead up to this match, Dark was able to take down Oliveira, and he took down Cure. So Dark has been winning non-stop here in this tournament, purely off of ZVT. Can he do it again against Maru? That's the question. I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. It's going to be a great series to end the night. Let's go, Papi. Let us go. Again, the players are just getting things ready. Again, big shout out to Thriving GG for the raid earlier. Thank you, Papi. Thank you for the raid. Hope you had a great time, and I hope you're able to enjoy the upcoming TVZ. Also, as a reminder, this is going to be a best of 3, and because both players have just been winning this entire time, I believe the winner of this series secures himself into the playoffs. The winner of Maru vs. Dark will be secure in their playoffs. Meanwhile, the loser will have to fight for better standing. Neither one of these players are really under threat of losing their place and not making it to the playoffs. They've both been doing well. Both are doing very well so far, both with, again, a flawless record. But we'll see if one, or who has kind of a blemish first. Who takes the first loss in this tournament? Maru or Dark? We'll see. We shall see. Outside of that, hope everyone has been enjoying themselves. Ooh, hope everyone's been enjoying the marathon of casting. Like, we've been live every day for almost a week now with we've been live every day for a couple of months, but with specifically Master Coliseum, it's been back-to-back broadcasts, and yeah, it's been pretty intense. We're working our way through the group stage. Once the group stage wraps up, we're going to be diving into the playoffs as well. I think there's going to be a 2-day break. I believe Saturday and Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. We will be taking a break from Master Coliseum. Yes, Saturday and Sunday won't have Master Coliseum. It's going to be coming back on Monday, once the group stage does wrap up. But even though we won't have Master Coliseum over the weekend, we have plenty more to cast. We have KSL, we have Overseas King of the Hill, which is going to be Saturday night. We have the Christmas Cup as well, which is going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So plenty of matches to cast, plenty to go on over the weekend. We may even have a replay cast on Sunday because we did miss out on ESL Open Cup Americas. We weren't able to cast it live this week just because I was a little bit busy. I was editing a lot of VODs, working on thumbnails. I was falling, because we've been casting so much, I was falling behind when it comes to just getting things ready for YouTube. So was just catching up on that. And yeah, as a result, we missed out on ESL Americas, which means Sunday or Saturday could be a good day to catch up, and a good day to catch up on some ESL Americas action. So that's kind of what our weekend is going to be looking like. It's going to be ESL Americas. We might also have a Christmas Cup replay cast as well, just to catch up on anything that we miss out on. And yeah, StarCraft. Always here on the CranKy Ducklings. Always, Papi, always. This series will confirm if Maru is washed or not. I don't think that's how it works. He already 2-0'd Cyril, Papi. Did that not matter? Did that? It's like no. We didn't care about him 2-0'ing. So okay, now this is the time. You know, is he washed or not against Dark? Ay. Shaking my head. But it looks like we have it. There we go. I was like, it looks like we have a delayed start, but our players are ready. We are diving on into this. Our vetoes are done. We may have had some technical issues to begin with, but they have since been resolved. And now we are getting into a TVZ. If you're in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take down the other. Will it go the way of Maru or Dark in this best of 3? Good luck. Predictions open. As here we go, in the top left hand corner we have his opponent, we have Maru for onside. And in the bottom right hand corner we have his opponent, we have Dark for himself. Again, for those who maybe aren't aware, Dark was, his contract did run up. He did run up a couple of days ago with DKZ. So Dark is no longer on Dragon Kaizi Gaming. Dark is currently a free agent. I do not know if he's looking for a team. That is a little bit unclear. But we do know that his military service is coming up. So that may be why he did end up leaving DKZ, just because he does have to commit to the military soon. So it's possible that Dark won't be finding another team just because, you know, his time is kind of running up here. Which is a bit of a shame. But despite that, Dark is still an amazing player. He's still arguably the best Zerg player in Korea. Personally, I would say that he is. I would say that he is above Solar, even though Solar is our most recent GSL champion. I understand that, but I mean, Dark has still been looking a lot more solid overall in a lot of these matchups. But here we go. A final series of the night. Big shout out to the sponsors. Big shout out to Doyu, Honkai Star, Taidu, Orderful, and Biu Biu. Big shout out to our sponsors. Again, Masters Coliseum, World Team League, and Kung Fu Cup would not be possible without all of our support, all of that support. So thank you so much. Thank you. As we settle on in, and Maru is going for an interesting opener. Okay, he's going for a bit of a special build. This is not 2 Rax Reaper. This is going to be what looks to be a Rax into Factory. Now, we have seen Maru hide his second Rax before with this opener by going for a second Rax on the high ground. So we'll see how he pieces this together. If this is a 2-1-1 or a 1-1-1. We'll see if he follows this up with the Factory on the low ground or the Rax on the high ground. We have another SCV, which means, yep, it's going to be on the low ground. It is going to be the Factory. So this is an opener that Special has been doing for years, for many years at this point. No one else has really caught on, but recently, when I say recently, I mean over the past, what, 8 months? 8-ish months, like Maru, as well as Beyond, they've been mixing it in. Ever since the last map pool, they've been mixing this in every now and then, you know, maybe once a week or once every now and then. A good way to spice things up. This is a little bit greedy. Obviously, your production is very exposed, but you do get a wall very quickly at your natural. So a very fast wall here from Maru, but your production is exposed. Meanwhile, Dark goes for a hatch gas pool. Standard opener here, out of Dark. Getting into his hatch gas pool, getting into his third base. Everything looking normal here from our Zerg player. I see the chat. I'm betting against my boy, so if he wins, I'm happy. If he loses, I get points. True. Let's go. I mean, again, the last time I'm going to have to double check, as we do catch the Overlord. A very nice catch here from Maru, and he is going for a 1-1-1. Okay. Very aggressive build here from Maru. He delays his third CC, goes for a faster starport instead. Cyclones are amassing. I believe there's going to be double Cyclone into Hellion. I don't think he's going to make more Cyclones behind this, but we have a Liberator behind this here for Maru. So very committed, very aggressive from our Terran player. I'm very curious to see what comes out after these 2 Cyclones. It should be Hellions, but we'll see if Maru spices it up. Yeah, there we go. Hellions are on the way. So the way this works is that the Cyclones, they shut down Queens and they shut down Overlords. Cyclones on their own are very fragile. You need these Hellions to support. So the Hellions are going to be there to shut down any kind of Ling harass and Ling surrounds to keep these Cyclones alive. Behind this, Stim is being prioritized. Still no third CC. Maru, we've seen him being very aggressive on side Delta before. He could be going for a 2-base all-in. Oh, we get a surround! Oh, miscontrol there out of Maru. He does expose himself, and the Cyclones fall. The Hellions, they arrive too late. The Hellions, they are too late here. They arrive just in time to see the Cyclones fall, and this is a disastrous start for Maru. Ay, ay, ay. Those Cyclones were so important here to how aggressive Maru wanted to be, and he has to back up. Now he starts up a third CC, and this third CC is so late. A very late third here from Maru. His Hellions have a lot of work to do. The Hellions and the Liberator. I was going to say Banshee. So the Lib is out. And workers are going down. We do have the Liberator in the natural base. 2 workers do full. The Hellions, they come into the third, and we are at a position. Where are the Queens? The Queens were distracted. 7 drones go down. Maru, he is looking to catch back up here. Getting so much... Oh my god! Getting so much damage done. 14! The drones, they all bunched up. They go down to the Hellions. Even though the Cyclones went down, the Hellions make up for it. 14 workers, almost a mineral line. Oh my god. The pendulum swings one way and then the other. Maru had a rough start, but this more than makes up for it. 14 workers, that is insane. That is almost game-ending damage. If it wasn't Dark, I would say that's game-ending damage. Like 14 workers, that's an entire mineral line. And what's important, the Hellions survived. The Hellions lived. This is disastrous here for Dark. He's working on 1-1, working on double Evo Chamber, which means delayed Banelings, which is fine. Again, Maru is macroing. He is getting into his CC behind this, but yeah, this is a rough start here for Dark. He's gonna have to be very defensive as a result, or he has to do something crazy to bounce back, like a Ling counterattack. And there we go. 20 Lings are in production. Let's go. Let us go. Now, with, like, this is a pretty big investment. Darky's cutting workers. He actually has less drones than Maru right now, but he has a swarm of Lings, and the goal here is to try to get into the third base, surround the Marines, surround these Hellions, and catch the army. We'll see if Dark can pull this off. The pressure is on. The pressure is on Dark. We do see some Lings getting ready for a run-by. Hellions are moving out, the Marines are pushing out as well. Stim is done, remember that? And Hellions are getting ready for another dive into the third. Dark getting distracted by the push. The Marines keep his attention here on the right-hand side. We do dive on top of them. Again, we have our Medivacs in position. Good stutter stepping here from Mara. At the same time, the Hellions do push in. And they will be caught. They will be surrounded. Decent cleanup there by Dark, but the Queens are getting caught off of creep. Transfuse saves one, but doesn't save the other. Maru getting 2 Queens, getting a 3rd Queen as well. This is becoming far too much damage on top of the worker damage dealt earlier. We have plenty of reinforcements back at home. GG gets called, and Maru takes game number 1. GG. Off of the back of that Hellion run-by. The Hellion run-by just crippled Dark, and Dark was all in essentially from there. We saw Dark amass Lings, but he wasn't able to achieve much with them. He did catch the Hellions, but we saw that that counterattack was like the Hail Mary play for Dark, where we had plenty of reinforcements back at home. The double drop snowballed out of control as well, again, because so much economic damage was dealt. And again, drone damage, especially that early on, is game ending. Like, to lose that many workers early on, it's so much more impactful as well, just because your economy is it's still building up at that stage. And against a player like Maru, against any player at this caliber of play, you can't make those mistakes. You cannot take that much damage that early on. GG. So with that, Maru does get a cheeky win here to kick things off of a very aggressive build. We'll see if he can catch Dark off guard. We'll see if Dark could be the one to be in the driver's seat in Game 2. We'll see. As Game 2 is going to be on Alcyone. Alcyone, of course, a very large map, a lot of bases, long rushes by ground. This is typically a macro map. But I'm sure Dark does want to kind of take control of this game, and, you know, maps like Alcyone and maps like Radisson Station, they haven't stopped Dark from being aggressive before. Here we go. In the top right-hand corner, we have Maru for onside. And in the bottom left, we have his opponent. We have Dark, who again is currently teamless. Does have the logo on for his team, or the production did put the logo on for his team there in Game 2, but that is a bit of a mistake. As a reminder, Dark is teamless. As once again, Maru going for that depot on the low ground. Now this time this looks like a 2-racks opener as opposed to the opener that we saw previously. We shall see. As Dark, he's going straight for the gold, and he's getting scouted. He's known for this. Like, Dark, especially on this map, he is known to rush into the gold, and Maru is fully aware. Oh boy. Yep, and we're going for a proxy racks. We are looking to punish Dark, and this game may end before it begins. Maru looking to punish his opponent. Dark so far has no idea what's going on. Does have an Overlord going through the center of the map, but that is why Maru, I don't know if you saw, before he threw down his racks, he checked the Xel'Naga, he saw the position of the Overlord, and then he intentionally put the racks on the right-hand side. He saw the Overlord pathing, and he avoided it. So very smart move there out of Maru. Does avoid the Overlord. Unscouted so far. And Dark, he's going double. This is a build order loss. It's double hash before pull. It's oh my god, it's hatch into the spawning pool. The pool is late, no gases, no link speed. I don't know how Dark can come back from this. We'll see. I mean, if he can make some magic happen, then, you know, I'm more than happy to eat my words. But this is the greediest opener that Dark could have gone for. He's main-arding over. And there's no way to deal with this. The bunker's on the way. Yeah, the drones have to pull back. So much lost mining time. This gold base not being saturated whatsoever. It can't be. And honestly, all Mara has to do is go for the main. He has to ignore the gold, go for the main base, go for drone kills. That's what he needs. He sees the other hatchery here. He's going for Marines, actually. Okay. So he ignores the main. Alright. So, this gold base, even though we can't really do anything with it, it's going to buy time. That's what's important right now. Dark, he is buying time with this gold. Roach Warren's on the way. We're going for Roach Warren. We have a gas on the way as well. Dark, he needs time to muster up an army to try to get back into this in some way. Here we go. As this hatchery should end up falling. Roach Warren's halfway done. Dark getting his natural up and running. He's going to be droning his heart out. Oh, Overlord is going to get picked off. Oh, can he get it? Can he get it? Oh, he will not. 5 HP. The Overlord barely survives. Let's go, Bobby. Let's go. Overlord survives. Roaches are on the way. And can Dark save this hatchery? That would be insane if he can. I would be shocked. I'm ready to be shocked. Okay, no, it's not gonna happen. Wait, can he save it now? Hatchery goes down. 300 minerals down the drain. Roaches are on the way. So far, I believe, unscouted. But we have Cyclones in production. Marines are racing back home. We have the Zelnaga. We see the Roaches. Maru is aware. Gets a couple of free shots in. And yeah, with Cyclones on the way, these Roaches will do nothing. We can see that Dark isn't going all in. He is droning up behind this. So he made a couple of Roaches to push out, and he's just droning his heart out. Reapers, they dip into the main. There is a Queen in position. No link speed. And I don't think we have any Roaches to defend either. I think they were sent out. And we're going for drone kills. Like, this is what I was expecting earlier. Like, we can just get so many workers here. 3 drones go down. We lose a Reaper, but for 3 workers, that's worth it. That is well worth it for Maru. And behind this, I do appreciate that Maru's got a medevac on the way. So he's pushing. He's pushing very early on. He knows that Dark doesn't really have much. He knows that Dark has a handful of units, and Dark is droning his heart out trying to recover. So he's killed one of our own Marines for an additional Hellion. But yeah, I mean, he knows that right now Dark is very vulnerable, so this is a kill move. Essentially, a kill move here from Maru. He is expanding behind this. Maru isn't going all in, but this push has a lot of potential. And here we go. We're going to have Cyclones pushing towards a third. We're going to have Hellions diving into the main. Oh boy. Let's go. The drop is making its way across the map. Cyclones are moving out as well alongside the Marines. And we'll see if Dark can somehow survive this. We'll see if he can defend both locations at once. Again, Dark, he is squeezing out more Roaches. Wise move out of Dark. He's not droning up. He's not over-droning. Job comes in. He's spotted by the Overlord at the same time. Maru getting ready to dive into the third base as well. We do get into the mineral line. And drones are going to be going down. And how many workers is the question? 5! 6 drones in total, and 3 Hellions make it out. And really, that's all that Maru needed. He doesn't push in with his Cyclones. He does stay back. He did see all those Roaches. Gets another 6 workers, and oh, the drop play continues. The drop play does continue, rotating around Hellions towards the natural, this time Cyclones into the main. The Roaches are quite immobile, but we'll see if Dark can keep up. We'll see if he can preemptively split up his army and be in position. If so, Dark can swat this away. Yeah, the Queens, they're rotating over. They're keeping up with the Hellions. So far, so good. Double drop into the main base, though. We should have enough roaches to defend. Spore Crawler is going to be going down. Roaches are rotating over. Oh, good target firing here on the drones. 2 workers were focused down. We drop towards the 3rd. We see the Ravagers. And we're going to get them. Stim is done just in time. We get 1. Ooh, only 1 though. He wants the others. Oh, he gets 2, he gets 3. He gets every single Ravager. Big pickups there by Maru. And again, Dark, he just has so little to defend. So few queens to defend as well. He just cannot keep up. Here comes the tank. Here comes the reinforcements. Now, without Ravagers, that means that this tank push is that much more terrifying. Ravagers would have been a great way to deal with it. Okay, we bring the tank back home, so we're only dropping with Marines. So Maru, he's only focusing on harass. He's not going for a major push. He's just establishing his 3rd. 4th CC is on the way, so he's getting further ahead in the economy, or trying to at least. Now, bearing in mind, Dark is up in supply, but that is inflated supply. You know, the soup does lie, and the reason for that is because of the roaches. The roaches are very supply dense. And we may just go all in. I would not be opposed, but like Dark is taking a 4th right now. We've got 6 overlords on the way. This looks like Dark is going to go all in on 1-1. I say that. Infestation Pit. We're going for a longer game. Dark, he's going for a longer game. 1-1 is going to kick in, but he is not pushing. Now the question becomes, how does Maru approach this? He's keeping his tanks still back at home. No. Is that... Are those tanks in the medevacs? I think they are. I think we have 2 tanks in the medevacs, so pushing in towards the 4th base. There's a really good positioning for those tanks. Yeah, here we go. The tanks have arrived. Dark does have a couple of Ravagers. He is in position. Good Wiles can bring this down. Can Dark hold on? Can he stabilize? We go for the scan. The Wiles! Good splits! Good. Oh, I spoke too soon. The medevacs go down. The Marines survive, but not the medevacs. As we will shut this down. Whew. Good Wiles here from Dark. Infestors on the way. Dark, can we hold on? We're going for a big counterattack. What do we have at home to defend? 1-1 is done. Dark sending everything across the map. There's no more tanks. Uh-oh. No more tanks back at home. There we go. They do make it back just in time. Dark, he respects it. He backs off. We have +1 melee on the way. Dark is transitioning into Ling Bane. And Dark, he has, for the most part, recovered here. Doesn't have the best army, unfortunately. It can keep up with defensive play, and, you know, it's enough to survive. But Dark has to refine his army. That's what he's working on right now. We have to get out of Roach Ravager into Ling Bane. It's not the easiest thing to do. There it is. Baliness is on the way. +1 melee is still starting. As a result, Maru, he's going to be able to outscale this army for quite some time until we can get into Banelings. Oh my god, bit of a move command there. Ravager goes down. A lot of Lings as well. Could be threatening a drop into the main. Spire is on the way. That'll help when it comes to this drop play. And Dark still stuck defending. But we're recovering. It's happening. We are recovering in this game. We're coming back. Meanwhile, 2-2 is about to kick in for Maru. It's going to be a big power spike for his bio. He's working on a 5th base already. Aye. Like again, Maru, he has the better economy here. He's building up a bank so he can start taking into Ghost, into Liberators. Speaking of, there it is. Ghost Academy's on the way. 2 more CCs as well. Like, Dark has a lot of freedom. Like, there's a reason why, like, Dark, Maru has a lot of freedom. There's a reason why Dark is stuck at home just trying to keep up with these drops. The Queens go down! The Queens go down. Doom drop into the main base. Dark racing over to try to respond. And this isn't designed to kill, but designed to trade. A lot of Lings are falling here. The Bailings aren't ready. So many Lings go down. The Roaches as well. This army getting out of hand. 2-2 is done, by the way, for the bio. Trading so well here against these Roaches. Minerals for gas. And behind this, there it is. Ghosts and Liberators on the way. Maruhi is refining his army even further. Dark, again, this entire time has just been stuck at home. And the problem is he's been stuck at home struggling to defend. Like, he's been taking losses. Has been taking losses. But we have Vipers on the way. Greater Spire. +2 melee for the Ling Bane. Now, these Vipers are going to be a big moment for Dark, where if he can catch these tanks, if he can get some really good Blinding Clouds, then he can take a fight. But that's a lot of tanks. That's a lot of Liberators. Oh my god. Again, Dark, his army is more mid-game oriented. Maru, he's got like the ideal. Shows the Biles. They get one Lib. One Liberator does fall. I mean, pushing it forward. Fungal's going to be thrown down, grazing some of these Marines. Better Fungal here on the army. We do bring down one of those tanks. Maru slowly pushing forward. Another tank does go down. You can see Dark being very careful. Every time he dips in, kills one tank, dips out. He knows he cannot commit to a fight. And that's exactly what Maru wants. Maru, he wants a fight. Yeah, Snipe's going to be going off. Oh, Maru gaining ground. And Dark is being forced further and further back. Yeah, this hatchery is going to fall. Dark desperately going for a counterattack instead, going for a massive Ling run by. Vipers have arrived, going for some power bombs. Do we have anything at home to defend? We don't really have much. These Lings, they catch some tanks. Big Ling run by. A couple of tanks going to be going down. Big Fungal here on the bio. But the Biles are going to be dodged. Yeah, the Ling run by is being cleaned up. We are getting on top of the tanks though. One tank goes down. Only one tank though. And Maru, he's not stopping. He's not slowing down. The pressure is on. Dark being forced up against the wall. He has squeezed out a couple of Broodlords, but these are 0-0 Broodlords. No upgrades. Maru, the run-by has been dealt with. He can rally everything across the map. He can keep pushing. Again, it was impressive that Dark was able to survive this long, but he has been on the back foot for almost the entire game from the beginning, really. Ling Bane rolls in. We do get a tank. 2 tanks go down. Dark, he's just been surviving for the past 14 minutes. Can we take a good fight? If we can land a good Fungal, if the Terran army overextends, if we leave the tanks too far behind, if we land a good Fungal, then we can take a good fight. Oh, Snipe's going to be going off though. There we go, another big Ling run line. We saw that it was pretty successful earlier. We can maybe find some more tanks here. There are reinforcements back at home. We're going to be delaying some of the production. Going to be delaying a CC. Yeah, we're pushing on further towards the fort. Dark sending everything across the map. Again, he knows he cannot take a fight. The snipe. Oh my god, massive snipes. We got a Broodlord. The Vikings are going ham. Another Broodlord goes down. This thing run by is breaking through though. We're getting SCVs and we're forcing back the army. And this is what Dark needed. He needed Mars to back up. 15 SCVs going down. Yeah, but it's not going to be enough. That's all that Dark had left. Just a Hail Mary play. Just going across the map. GG gets called, and Maru will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Again, it was kind of a build order win from Maru in the beginning of the game, which is why I was impressed. I was very impressed that Dark survived for as long as he did, because that was a rough start. That was a very rough start to the game there, where Dark went hatch before pool. He got scouted. The gold base was not worth it. 300 minerals down the drain from the beginning. And from there, it didn't end. Maru, with that proxy Turax, he shut down the gold. Then was able to kill drones with his Reapers. Then he went for a Hellion drop into the main, killed more workers. Then the drop play continued. Like, Maru was just in the driver's seat from the beginning there. And it was a risky build from Dark. It was a very risky build from Dark. I don't blame him for going for it, but high risk comes with high reward, sure, but you know, it is a risk. And at Dark, he was shut down from the beginning there, and as a result, that's why he was one step behind. He was just treading water, and I mean, he was able to max out, true, but as we mentioned, it was Roach Ravager. Like, it just doesn't scale well into the late game, and Maru was doing a great job at taking up into ghosts, into libs, into tanks, into a stronger game. And with that, GG, well played. That is our Night of StarCraft at an end. That is our Night of StarCraft here at an end. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time here tonight. Only 4 best of 3s, and tomorrow's matches were just revealed as well. Tomorrow we're going to be back with some more Masters Coliseum. It is going to be Max Pax versus Hero once again in a PvP. Oh, let's go. Max Pax versus Hero in a PvP. Clem versus Shin in a TVZ. Firefly versus Raynor in a PvZ. Oh, I'm looking forward to that. I'm a big fan of Firefly. Look forward to seeing him against Raynor. And we also have Oliveira versus Bunny in a Terran versus Terran matchup. So 4 more matches tomorrow to round off round 3. Oh boy. So be sure to be there in just under 24 hours. Just under 24 hours. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. Hope you all had a great broadcast here tonight. Only one cast for us here tonight. I know that usually we're live with, like, you know, Christmas Cup or some other event in the afternoon, like with we usually cast a lot, but today only one cast, which means I can get some food. I can get some food, I can get some rest. I'm just going to be editing VODs, I'll be honest. I'm just going to be editing VODs and putting in some more work, but we'll be able to rest my voice. As we get ready for tomorrow. So I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. We'll see you guys tomorrow for some more Masters Coliseum. See you guys tomorrow. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Going to be giving it to, we'll see, for Jumi's laddering. So may give some love to Jumi. May find another StarCraft streamer. So give them a chance. Give them some love. Give them some support. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, hasta luego. Bye. Bye. Hasta luego. Hasta luego.